Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sing 3-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bums we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept a storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree in the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson.
The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener, jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch stores type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Best.
Crumb TV.
Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sing 3-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bums we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept a storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree in the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson.
The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener, jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch stores type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descended of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Blast.
From TV.
The family, peace to you and yours. Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Welcome to another episode of Melanin Mondays. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your host for the evening, Brother Red Pillar. And that song that you just heard right there, that is Theta Waves featuring the Twin Pillars. All right. Shout out to everybody in the building pulling up. I don't have the title up right now, but this is definitely part 2 of what we was cooking up yesterday. All right. This is definitely, we are on a part 2 episode. This is a rollover episode. We are continuing to cook on this topic right here. All right. Yesterday's episode was about Black Boy Joy. This one is about Black Boy Joy. This episode is going to be dealing with a little more somber theme. While we're still in the window of this very, very powerful alignment, we're going to tap into some real life shit that's going on. Today, they buried the young man, Nolan Wells. We're going to touch on some things dealing with that. And we're also going to tap into some stuff going on in the news right now, like we always do. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's do the roll call and let's see who is in the building and let's get to it. All right. Shout out to Cafunia in the building. All right. That's Jersey for you. All right. Shout out to Cafunia. What's happening? Yes. Charleston in the building. Lansing, Michigan in a building. East Flatbush in a building. We got Uptown Washington, D.C. South Central in a building. It's going kind of fast. Harlem in a building. Mississippi in a building. You dig? Jersey. Cleveland, Ohio. South side of H-Town. You dig? Massachusetts. We got South Central in a building. Pontiac. Uptown. What's popping? East Flatbush, Charleston again. Yeah. Ann Arbor, Michigan, Denver, Colorado, DC proper, Quinnipiac, Minnesota, Virginia, Inglewood, you dig? Montgomery, Myrtle Beach, Ohio up in the Duval. We got Louisiana, Southwest Louisiana, West Side, ATL up in this biatch. Boston is up in here. Jamaica, Queens, Newport Richey, Florida. Philly is in a building. We have Shaker Heights, Ohio. Yes. Bmore, Texas A&M. Sanford, Florida. Was popping. Canada was good. Tampa. How y'all doing? Portland, New Orleans was popping. Best I do or die. OKC up in this thing. Cleveland, we have Wilmington, Delaware. We never scared. Philly in the building. Griffin, come out with the smithing. Detroit, what up, though? Los Angeles, we got Boston, North Las Vegas. Yes. I'll greet you all in peace, love, and light. You know what I'm saying? On this beautiful Monday. Thank you for joining us. You could be doing anything else, but you're here with us, and we're honored to have you. And I will not waste your time, nor will I, quote unquote, waste your attention. We're going to deliver some top tier information, okay? And we're going to keep it pushing. All right? So let's get into it. Before I begin, I want to play the video about this alignment. Um, I want to play this video so we could all get in alignment because there's a powerful window, and I don't want to assume that everybody saw the stream from yesterday. I do not want to assume that, and I don't want to assume that everybody is familiar with what's going on alignment wise. So we will be talking about that in a few minutes. We're gonna get to that. We are gonna get to that. There was a brother who was in the building with us, and he didn't send me his email, and I promised this brother a ticket to our next class/workshop. And if you in the building, good brother, drop your email so I could hit you up. You feel me? Yeah. You just finished watching a replay. Blessings. That's what's up. Blessings. Yeah, we had fun yesterday. We was going in. What up, Kentucky? Red, you called it with Yamil. Yeah, I surely did. Shout out to the young god. You know what I'm saying? Him and his little bro. Him and his little bro. You know? Shout out to them. They having a time of their life right now. I seen the whole Spain come out for them. Shout out to the Moors in Spain. You know what I mean? Keep doing what you do. And yeah, that history lesson is on the way. At 19 years old, right? At 19 years old, the face of the league, they making him the face of the league, like at 19 years old for a global sport. Even though we know FIFA is dirty, the red shoes and all of that. Yeah, we know FIFA's like a mafia. You know what I'm saying? Protect the young guard, but the footwork is crazy. If y'all just pull up his highlights, he ain't no ordinary player. The footwork going crazy. You know, shit. We might as well get right to it. You know what I mean? Let's get right into it. Yeah. Check this out. Yeah, let's talk about FIFA. Let's warm it up with the FIFA talk, and then we'll go into a little more higher frequencies. But let's tap in.
Argentina disrespected Spain and turned their back when Spain were about to lift the World Cup trophy and they didn't clap for them. Nah, this is actually embarrassing. Argentina, what happened to respect? Messi took his team when the confetti was going off and they walked away. And this is beyond shameless because Spain even gave them a guard of honor after Argentina started crying after the game. Oh, but Olmo and Rodri owned them. He said, we're an example for many generations. They should be too. And then Rodri showed up with the World Cup to flex. What did Spain even do to Argentina to get them that mad? And what happened to fair play and respect? I guess Messi can win the Ballon d'Or, right? I mean, he's not even one of the 3 favorites on Cauchy right now. This is beyond crazy because Argentina talked the most and then they can't even show respect after the game, after they lose. Imagine if it was the other way around. Spain would definitely be right there standing and clapping as Argentina lift the trophy, but thankfully we didn't have to see that. Instead, Argentina turned their back, bro.
Yeah, that's sore loser shit. You know, they just showed their character, but guess what? They lost on so many levels, not just in the World Cup. They lost the world. They lost the World Cup, and they lost the world's attention and respect. Check that out. Big losers.
Argentina in this tournament and in the run-up to this tournament has done irreparable damage to its standing in the world. Truly. Like, the first nail in the coffin was when they were caught singing racist songs about France. But when they came into the tournament, they were kind of, everyone had kind of forgotten about it. FIFA certainly had. And then they conducted themselves in the most disgusting way throughout this entire month or so, culminating with the England game, which was just disgraceful. And then they finally get their justice. I mean, even that game against Spain, FIFA has a lot to answer for because they have enabled this. Even that game against Spain, I think Argentina thought they could get away with more than they could, and the ref was like, there's only so much I can do. And then Messi trying to get Cucurella sent off for nothing. And we can all see it. The damage they've done to their legacy as a team, and arguably the damage Messi's done to his legacy from his behaviour in this tournament. I mean, just shocking. Absolutely shocking. Not what football's about at all.
Yeah, it's just getting worse for them. Every day is just getting worse for them. So many people are turn. I seen jersey burnings and all type of stuff. There's Jamaican artists that are being blackballed in Jamaica because they were standing behind Argentina. You know what I mean? Went against England, right? These Jamaican artists, a whole slew of them, they get booked in England. They don't get booked. You know, it's a whole bunch of Jamaicans in the UK and everything. They don't get booked in Argentina. They get booked in England, but they turned their backs on England. So now England is like, well, I hope Argentina is gonna book y'all niggas because we ain't about to bring y'all to Jamaica. I mean, we about to bring no Jamaicans to England who was wearing the Argentinian jersey. You know, they're seeing that as the highest form of traitorism, and I respect it. You know, and I totally understand it. This is political at the end of the day. Fuck who you rooting for. This is politics. You're supposed to understand and be able to read the room.
Spain made sure to post images of their celebration of the World Cup without Donald Trump. Every single image posted by the Spanish national football team removed or excluded Donald Trump from the stage. Here's the main one that was posted after the Spanish team picked up the trophy, beat Argentina. Now, if you recall, Donald Trump desperately tried to be in this frame. You don't have to believe me, you can just watch him do it himself. Here's a video of Trump desperately trying to remain on stage while the Spanish players were celebrating. Gianni Infantino runs over, tries to pull Trump off stage, and Trump refuses to do so, to literally try to be there the moment that they lifted the World Cup trophy and the fireworks go off. Despite Infantino's best efforts, Trump was there. Then when you look at the final picture with the crowd going wild, them lifting the World Cup trophy and the fireworks going off, Trump is nowhere to be found. So if you want to know how the Spanish team thinks of the American president, that's where we're at. As always, spread the word, follow along for all the news you need to know about.
So Trump out here trying to Debo shit. You know what I mean? Getting booed, getting disrespected. You know? Man, shit is crazy. It is crazy. Did we
Argentina disrespected.
Yeah, we played that. Yeah. It's just getting ugly and whatnot. But hey, all of these things are supposed to happen because inside of this, you know, just the times that we're living in and whatnot, the veil, everything is being revealed. Let us quickly remind everybody in the building what this quote unquote alignment is all about. Let us remind everybody who may be unfamiliar or who may have heard about it last night and whatnot. Let's reintroduce the information. Check it out.
Week is bringing one of the biggest astrological events of the year. Andre Barbault, the astrologer who predicted the 2020 pandemic, said the rare alignment, now called Barbault's basket, peaking this week could trigger a relaunch of civilization. But before civilization relaunches, let's see what it means for you. Instead of looking at this as one giant portal to your future, think of it like 3 outer planets building the stage and Jupiter in Leo turning on the spotlight. Let's break it down. Connection 1. Jupiter trines Neptune. Your vision gets faith. But without grounding, vision can become delusion with excellent branding. Connection 2. Jupiter sextiles Uranus. The new idea gets an opening. A tool, a conversation, or an opportunity reveals a path to success the old plan missed. Connection 3. Jupiter opposes Pluto. Growth meets power. This can fuel transformation or let ego and control hijack the whole production. So this week is the battle between the freedom of who you are becoming and the false safety of who you had to be. Think of it like this. Neptune says imagine it, Uranus says update it, Pluto says transform it, Jupiter says let it grow, and your past says wait until it feels safe. That's what to expect. Here's what to do about it. Take one action the old version of you has been postponing and make it visible. It would be nice if Barbault's basket was delivering your future fully assembled, but it's not. The stage is built, the lighting is fantastic, but you still have to direct the show. So the question is, will the fear of your past or the wisdom of your future direct your present? And if you want a detailed breakdown of how all this energy will affect your individual sign, check out the full video on my YouTube channel. The link is in my bio.
How many people can honestly say that they've been feeling somewhat of this quote unquote, shift going on, what I mean, in their everyday lives today? How many people could relate? Press a one in the chat if you've been feeling the energy of this quote unquote, this alignment affecting your lives. Let me know. Let me know. Because I know one thing as well, another thing that I want to throw in there, that the quote unquote retrograde is over on Thursday. Mercury retrograde. This Mercury retrograde, it was taking no prisoners. This Mercury retrograde was one for the books. You feel me? This one right here. So this one is about to be wrapped up on Thursday, right? And I would highly suggest that everybody get their affairs in order, because right after that, Saturn is about to kick off. I believe Saturn is going into retrograde right after that. And it's been told to me that you might want to smooth out any type of karmatic deals. Like if you got drama with some people, if you cross somebody, if you have something that's in the quote unquote is lingering, some type of beef that may be brewing and whatnot, and you're not ready to go to war, you're not ready to face that type of thing, and you might be in the wrong. Yeah, you might want to offer what they call an olive branch before that shit comes around, because Saturn is belt to ass. That's what Saturn is. Saturn is law and order, is belt to ass, and it lays everything down. It's the get down and lay down sign. So if you kind of like cross somebody and you in the wrong, yeah, you're gonna want to humble yourself. Don't die on that hill. That's all I'm saying. If this retrograde showed you anything in terms of how people are gonna bring it to you, yeah, you might want to clean that up. This is not legal or financial advice. So this Sunday, which was yesterday, is one of the most cosmically loaded days of the entire century. Now, I know we have these alignments that we point out and whatnot. However, the person who predicted this is the same person who predicted C-19. They predicted the crash in 2008 and whatnot. They obviously are onto something, okay? My dude Barbault, okay? He's basically on to something. So we want to pay attention to that, and we want to give a little bit of credit to, what he was on and whatnot. If you're very skeptical of shit like that, do your research. Don't take anybody's word for anything. Definitely do your research. 4 outer planets lock to the exact same degree, and that degree is 4, ladies and gentlemen. That's the 4. Okay, 4, 4, 4, 4. Okay. Almost nobody around you understands what side they are already on. Okay. The moon joins the party and splits the world in two, and almost nobody around you understands what side that they are already on. So that's the type of energy that we're dealing with right now. It could be very confusing to somebody looking from afar, and they don't know what it is that they're seeing. But knowing is half the battle, right? Knowing is half the battle. So just having knowledge of what the hell is going on is going to kind of give you the advantage over people that are literally walking around with their head in the sand, right? You said your life path number is 4. Yes. That's what's up. And we talking to you then. You dig? We talking to you. So this week is bringing one of the biggest. Let's see if we could drop some more information.
Meet David Roulette, the national finance. But having with Elvin Wales is a ritual. Meet David Roulette, an army vet who threw wood.
So the other day I opened up a bit much about Andy Serkis says the racist things.
Man, hold on.
Bitch, I haven't seen the 60 seconds and I'll break down something nobody on it.
I decided to join the
All right, give me 1 second. I'm going through these videos. You know, I'll be having a lot of them.
The next 2 weeks of this 2-week period of the
Okay, check this out.
next 2 weeks of this 2-week period of the tightness of the so-called Barbault basket, which has just become a stand-in phrase for the perfected aspects of these outer planets, the 5 Barbault outer planets as I call them, or the modern outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Pluto, Neptune. Those 5 are all going to be in 4 degrees simultaneously and all aspecting each other by Ptolemaic aspect. And that all is here now. This is the 12th as I speak these words. The 15th is the day that Uranus will perfect the sextile to Neptune, and that begins to separate. The Uranus-Pluto air trine, Uranus and Gemini, Pluto and Aquarius, Saturday the 18th. On Monday the 20th, Jupiter will oppose Pluto. So it's all happening here, this calendar week, next calendar week, this moment of the Great Barbault Basket moment. I want to talk a little bit more about Andre Barbault's words and the texts from 1993, the book that he wrote, where he laid out much of this back in 1993. The book is called, in an English translation, The Future of the World According to Astrology. And I think it's important to go back to these sections because the paragraphs that have gone around over the last few years have been a truncated and highly edited version of what's written here and translated by, I should say, Claude Fable and ChatGPT 5.5 made these translations, okay, from the original French. The great upswing of 2026. He talks about 2025 and 2030, this whole period as being this great upswing. He says that what an exhilarating odyssey awaits us. This translation uses the word odyssey. Well, what's coming out during this 2-week period of the Barbault Basket? I'm going to go see it here opening weekend. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Isn't that cool? A synchronistic alignment of the word, The Odyssey from Barbault, writing about this time, and then we have the film The Odyssey, which is a landmark film using these IMAX cameras, and it's largely analog. What a cool thing. Special film stocks, all of it. Can't wait to see it. He says about the Uranus-Pluto trine, which perfects on the 18th of July, he says, supported by the sextiles of the 2 other cycles, and that means the Uranus-Neptune sextile and the Neptune-Pluto sextile. A triumphant creative genius prevails, driving a breathtaking leap in human progress. We enter an era of scientific revolution and technological magic with innovations and achievements advancing at rocket speed. We're living through that. You can do anything. You've got cameras, you can record things, you can write things, you can publish things. I see amazing art. Every time I log into Instagram, I just see beautiful artists and photographs and short films and creative political takes and just whatever the genius an individual human has at this moment of time in our world. They can share that genius, and there's this great exchange of the beauty of the human soul and spirit that we're living through. So I think he got this exactly right. We're living in an age of technological magic. I can message people and have a real-time call with someone thousands of miles away in crystal clear audio and, you know, stay connected with people from all over the world. It is something out of the future, no doubt about it. And I think he got that right on.
So yesterday we broke down how Neptune and Aries and, you know, all of these alignments, we identify certain markers to look out for. One of the main markers to look out for is the expansion of AI. All right. One of the main markers is the expansion of AI through many different means and whatnot. We're seeing that play out right now with the Chinese models, the open weights, the open source models versus the frontier models, the US frontier models. But it's more than just, there's literally a disruption that's about to take place. There's literally a mass disruption that is about to take place. They're either going to ban Chinese models. Trump is talking about banning Chinese models right now because of the threat that they pose to the US stock market and the threat that they pose to these US frontier models and whatnot. I think that is very much orchestrated. I feel that when he went over there to China and he bought $21 trillion worth of CEOs and leaders inside of the technocrat space, they sat down with the leaders in China and they devised this type of propaganda in order to do what? To lock off the fundament, to lock off access to the open weights, to lock off access to these open source models, to lock off access to these quote unquote super intelligent machines that an ordinary person that they call bad actors can get in their hands and whatnot and start doing things that will do just more than disrupt the stock market. At this point in the game, if a group of people or individual, engineer or somebody with the right know-how gets their hands on these open weights and on these quote unquote uncensored models, there's these models with no guardrails. It's a lot of shit that can happen. And I'm gonna just leave it at that because I don't want to feed the algorithm anything that it doesn't need to eat right now. You dig what I'm saying? I don't need it to farm my mind. I don't need it to start aura farming me and pulling information and tag me as a bad actor, even though yeah. So let's tap into some of the stories that are emerging as a result of these alignments.
Rick Rubin is building an AI religious cult. There's a lot to unpack here. To set the stage, AI religious cults are already here. This isn't a fringe internet thing. You can find this in the New York Times, MIT, NPR, and Wired recently revealed that Peter Thiel has a secret society focusing on things like cult building. So it should raise eyebrows when Rick Rubin releases a spiritual book in collaboration with Anthropic. The book is the cringiest thing you will ever read. They took the 81 chapters from a Chinese philosopher's spiritual text, ran it through Claude, and this is what came out. If you're gonna make a cult, just at least try not to make it so obvious. And quite frankly, lazy. This is the original, by the way. So let's start with his podcast named Tetragrammaton. That is a Jewish word for the unspeakable name of God. Christians know this word as Yahweh. Yes, Rick Rubin's podcast is named Yahweh. Yes, that same podcast where he's interviewed Peter Thiel. And a bunch of dead people using AI like Marlon Brando. Or a Nobel Prize winning physicist. But perhaps nothing is more problematic from his interview from a month ago where he interviewed Bryce Crawford. If you don't know him already, Bryce Crawford is a Jesus podcast bro. And you can't be a podcast bro without your own Jesus energy drink. Interviewing Christians like Tristan Tate, you know, Andrew Tate's brother. 6ix9ine, Nicki Minaj, and America's richest pastor. A person notorious for not paying taxes. It's not a coincidence that Anthropic wrote a spiritual text with Rick Rubin and then is working with faith-based leaders. They're trying to create a world in which AI will be a substitute for faith, or a faith on its own. And this lifelong grifter is going to be the face of it. And if you're trying to push this technology, it makes all the sense in the world because he's one of the few individuals who can navigate the worlds of spirituality and culture. Name one other person who can get away with interviewing Jay-Z for an 8-part docuseries and RFK Jr. Everything he does goes unchecked and is viewed as profound. And that's why he's the perfect person to try to convince you that AI is the highest realization of being. Stop thinking, stop desiring, and just be nourished by the source code. Amen.
So the next story that's been making, like I brought it up a minute ago with these Chinese models and whatnot. And there's one that dropped today called Quinn 3, and then there's one that dropped this weekend called Kimmy 3. And these are basically powerful AI models that are coming out of China that me, you, and anybody could basically get access to. It builds website. It does so much things. And they were able to do this without the help of, or without the assistance of very special chips and GPUs that America basically has a monopoly over. So them dropping these models in the market is shaking up the entire market and whatnot. And now the Trump administration is scrambling. The windows are closing. They're pulling their AI antichrist move and whatnot. They're pulling their technocratic moves and whatnot. And I just hope people are paying attention. Check it out.
Might ban all Chinese AI models here in the United States, including open source models. Okay, now listen to Scott Galloway talk about why the American economy is fucked because of Chinese AI. Then I'm gonna tell you why there's no fucking solution. So listen to this.
AI dumping from China. And that is free Chinese models went from less than a third of all traffic in late 2025 to about 2/3 recently. And it's much less expensive. There are a lot of regional LLMs in China, and they have access to cheaper power, cheaper chips, less power consumptive. And they're also subsidized by their own local governments. But the entire economy right now is a giant bet on AI. And China has come in with a product that is near frontier for a lot less money. And the mountain of consumption of Chinese open weight tokens has exploded. What the Chinese automobile industry did to Detroit in about 3 decades, it feels like Beijing is doing to US AI frontier models in about 3 months.
60% of all tokens spent on AI by American businesses are Chinese AI models. 8% of our fucking GDP is AI. If Trump bans Chinese AI models in the United States, American companies will cripple. The economy will fucking crash. But if Trump does not ban Chinese AI models, OpenAI and Anthropic will go bankrupt. Our top AI companies will go bankrupt. And OpenAI and Anthropic cannot release open source models because they've had hundreds of billions of dollars invested into them and they haven't made revenue. They haven't turned over a profit. So the only solution is to build way better AI models. The problem with that is we can't launch data centers the way China can. We can't launch the amount and the special type of data centers that China can. They have no friction with the public. They own their supply chain and they're the best manufacturing country in the world by miles, motherfucker.
Proposed data center in Virginia could soon force residents to dig up the graves of enslaved Virginians. And if they don't dig them up, well, the data center will be built over them. Everyone needs to hear what's happening right now in Stafford County. According to WUSA 9, who spoke with Dorothy Jones, a 94-year-old resident in Stafford County, a proposed data center, the Potomac Creek Development Data Center, would be built on a 99-acre property that includes a cemetery that dates back to the 1700s. The cemetery contains both marked and unmarked graves. If the project moves forward, Dorothy Jackson and other residents say that it can unearth several remains. But it's not just that. Theoretically, the data center could just simply be built over remains. And if the county approves the development, a court could decide whether or not any human remains have to essentially be relocated. But residents are saying don't disrupt their final resting place. Spread the word because people need to know what's happening in Stafford County. Follow along for all the news you need to know about.
They're a crock of shit. If they were so concerned with those unmarked graves, they would do the honorable thing, right? Before some data center came along, and what would they do? Right? They would make sure that those graves weren't. They would give all of the bodies that are inside of those unmarked grave a proper burial. You know, this whole data thing, the data center thing, is not what y'all think it is. The data centers, in my humble opinion, will be the new. You know how they have plasma centers, and people were basically selling their plasma for they had people selling their plasma for all type of incentives, cash incentives and whatnot, to get crack and to pay bills and things of that nature. Well, I feel that the data centers are going to be a modern day version of a plasma center. The only difference with the data centers is that you're basically going to be farmed for your thoughts, your memories, right? And your quote unquote consciousness. The data centers will be integrated with neural links. The data centers will go into your medulla oblongata. It will be tapping into people's monkey brains, similar to what he's doing right now, Elon Musk, that is, with the neural links. You don't have to look too far to see what the hell going on, right? And everything about the data centers are nefarious. What we do with AI, we don't need data centers. Okay, to build out a fucking website, you don't need data. That all of this proposed building of data that has not don't fall for the okie doke. We were carrying on pretty fine with these tools and whatnot, and the capabilities of the tools without data centers inside of urban America and everywhere around, draining up water and stuff like that. Whatever that is, that's Palantir based, that's control based, that is an aspect of their surveillance campaigns, and it's not it's not for the good of the people. So I just want to put it on the record that I am adamantly opposed to all talks about data centers. That's not something that I advocate for. That's not something that's needed and whatnot. There's so many other solutions out there, and at this point, because of the fact that these people are lying, it doesn't even matter if you come with a solution and be like, oh, I got the solution. We could put data centers in space, or they they're just gonna laugh at you. You know what I mean? Like, you see how those scientists got knocked off for having the audacity to come up with solutions and whatnot. I don't think these people really want solutions, to be honest with you. I don't think that they're invested in solutions and whatnot. They're more so invested in what it is that they're invested in, and they're burning up a lot of money. And it's almost like, remember when the mafia was taking over the construction sites, right? Remember when Halliburton, not the basketball player, Nichols, Halliburton going back to Desert Storm and whatnot. Remember when remember when Halliburton and Kellogg's and all of them took over, and they were charging the USA government $10,000 for porta potties, right? Remember that? Remember when George W. and all of them, and Dick Cheney and them, and the other Condoleezza Rice and all of them? Remember when they robbed the American government for trillions of, not billions, for trillions of dollars, right? With that whole fiasco and whatnot. That's the same thing that's going on right now with this fake ass circle jerk that they're doing, where all of this money is going in a whole circle and whatnot, is basically passing through everybody. All of these companies are just circulating like $2 trillion to each other in a circle jerk, creating what is known as a bubble. Okay, creating what is known as a bubble and whatnot. So pay full attention to it and don't fall for the fuckery. Now let's move on. Like I said, today's episode is Black Boy Pain, because the last episode was Black Boy Joy and whatnot. Today they buried the young god Nolan and whatnot. And I heard some people on the internet talk about that they were not going to get behind this man's case and whatnot, and they were going to back off of it because his mother was Philippines and she wasn't a true FBA and shit like that. And if that's the truth, I don't know. I mean, I seen the situation, but I seen a video about it, but I don't know how true people are really on. I don't know how true that is, if people are really backing off of this case and whatnot, because the mother is not a full-blooded Indian. But y'all let me know. Y'all let me know if that's the case. But yeah, this has created quite the controversy around this case, around what's going on. There's a lot of discrepancies that people are pointing out. They have the Rat Packers involved, Tyler Perry, Al Sharpton, Benjamin Crump. But yeah, let's tap in.
Humanity being prepared for, whilst most of...
Oh no, we're gonna get back to you, my brother. We're gonna get back to you. Let me go into something else real quick. Let's get into this Nolan talk, because it's some heavy shit going on. People are talking heavy.
So the other day I opened up a bit much about what I would do and what I would sacrifice to avenge my son's or daughter's death or murder, you know, because of the Nolan Wells case and many other that followed and came before. It's very similar. And I see a lot of people, sadly, that says, well, if you do that, what about your wife? And what about your kids? And if I do that, my sons will have seen my sacrifice. They will have seen and understood what a man's job is, what a real man's purpose is, why we're here. A lot of people take the coward route. What about your wife? What about your family? When you go to war, you fighting for the whole of your country. It's just like you fighting for your family. You would go to war for them, right? I would hope so. Now, when you go to war, you're fighting for people you don't even know. You're killing for people you don't even know. You're killing people you don't even know. For people you don't know. But when it comes to your child, your family, the powers that be taught you to be so docile.
Have we not talked about this before? Have we not spoken on this before? Have we not posed the question, is the black man cursed? Because the black man is going all around the world, and now he brought his woman with him and whatnot. And y'all going all around the world on some G.I. Joe shit, G.I. Joseph, but you're not putting in no work in your neighborhoods. When you come back from war, you lace up your boots and everything, but you wild docile when you in the States, when it comes to these babies, when it comes to these neighborhoods, when it comes to cleaning up the scourge of the drugs and all of these other things, when it comes to evicting the homeland terrorists that are taking over your hoods and whatnot. All of this talk about people going missing and all of these children, you know what I mean? But there's no concerted effort from the melanated veterans, right? Shout out to the veterans and whatnot. I know that y'all do y'all thing and whatnot, but there's just some basic questions that people are posing, like, where's the private military contractors? Where's the PRCs? I mean, the PMCs, you know? Whatever happened to that? You know, because that's what's needed right now. So these conversations have not really been answered, and I don't know why, but it's not going to go away. You know, there's obviously a discrepancy taking place where people feel that, you know, going out there and killing in the name of Uncle Sam, in spite of what the fuck Uncle Sam has done to your people. I mean, there's thousands of receipts, you know. People get tough all around the world, but come on, look at what's going on right here, you know. So the brother was like, yo, if it comes down to it, I'm putting in work. I'm not asking no questions. I'm putting in work, you know. I'm not being docile with it. I'm not taking the Benjamin Crump route. And people are trying to talk him down, like, oh no, brother, that's not the way to do it. Yeah.
The other day I opened up a bit much about what I would do and what I would sacrifice to avenge my son's or daughter's death or murder, you know, because of the Nolan Wells case and many other that followed and came before. It's very similar. And I see a lot of people, sadly, that says, well, if you do that, what about your wife? And what about your kids? And if I do that, my sons will have seen my sacrifice. They would have seen and understood what a man's job is, what a real man's purpose is, why we're here. A lot of people take the coward route. What about your wife? What about your family? When you go to war, you're fighting for the whole of your country. It's just like you're fighting for your family. You would go to war for them, right? I would hope so. Now, when you go to war, you're fighting for people you don't even know. You're killing for people you don't even know. You're killing people you don't even know. For people you don't know. But when it comes to your child, your family, the powers that be taught you to be so docile and acceptive here and unacceptive here. What to expect and what to not expect. What to accept and what to not accept. You would go across seas and fight for your country and fight for unknown people before you would fight for your own blood? What are you? Who are you? If I leave, my children would have seen the example that they need to be for our existence. War never stopped. It never stopped.
Yeah, let us continue.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Emmett Till and Nolan Wells. Emmett Till mama had that casket open, baby, because she wanted the world to see what they did to her son. Nolan Wells' parents kept that casket closed. For what reason? Why? Because I'm not going to take it over lies. Something to me ain't right. Something to me ain't coming out. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to be honest. They had a private autopsy, right? Money talks, baby. That autopsy done been done. Anytime y'all want to give it to the grand jury, it's something that has to be some type of negligence. My thing about it is to keep all the camaraderie down with the rumors that his body was mishandled. Why not open up that casket and let the world see it? But I don't know if it was too much of a visual, because guess what? The parents saw Nolan. They didn't saw their son. You know what I'm saying? So when y'all try to bring history with modern time in this generation, leave the fuck history where it's at. Because as much as y'all say that they stepping for Nolan, they stepping for Nolan with baby steps. They ain't really taking no big dog step, because they should have had that motherfucking casket open. Y'all can say what y'all want to say. The world want to see what happened to Nolan. What happened to Nolan? This would have been a good time to have that casket open so the world could see. If we really want to cause a controversy, if we really want to shut the internet down, if we really wanted social media to be focused on Nolan, it would have been an opportunity to have for Nolan. That's my truth. So this is what I say. Stop comparing Emmett Till with Nolan. Put some respect on Emmett Till. Put some respect on Miss Mammy, which was his mother, because his mother was strong, baby. She wanted the world to see what they did to her son. I ain't taking the word of a lie. I said what I said. Goodbye.
Family got up on this motherfucking internet, bitch, and had the audacity to say it's not about race. It's not about race. Bitch, are y'all cool? Is y'all being threatened? Do y'all need help? Bitch, blink twice. You ain't gotta say shit.
That community, that this Nolan Wells situation did bring awareness. It just bring it back to the front street. You see what I'm saying? Because you got his parents up here. I feel like we going harder than his parents. I'm gonna just go and say it forward. Because for y'all folks to get up on the news and say that it ain't about race and they don't see color, basically, the fuck you talking about? That shit happened in Mississippi. He was the only.
I agree with the people. I agree with the fucking people, and the people are speaking the truth. If you hire Ben Crump, a civil law attorney, what the fuck he do? He fight for justice for black people. If you go and bring Al Sharpton into this situation, what do Al Sharpton do? Al Sharpton has been grandfathered, inducted into being a black advocate. Make it make fucking sense. That's why I say what all this talking is about. What is all these interviews about? You gotta know how to hold your peace and speak your peace. And for me, I don't feel like they're holding their peace. And I'm gonna say something about to be controversial. Attention is a fucking drug, whether y'all want to believe this or not. And I don't give a care what y'all say. It's something about knowing standing in the mainstream, but it's something about now is being made more of a publicity thing to me. I saw the letter with the mail. Why? With all the tragedies going on in the world, and Nolan is getting the notoriety, Nolan is getting out in the media. Do the fuck we need to know that? It's like, well, let me keep the people up to date what's going on. The only up to date we need to fucking know for me is when they gonna charge somebody, the new evidence they coming up with. Other than that, sit back. You ain't gotta be active all the way around. I don't give a fuck what none of y'all say. That shit didn't need to be put out. And I'm starting to think that when something like this happened with these parents, it come to be, yeah, this is my child, but then it come to be almost like the attention and the sympathy is what I'm craving for and what I need. I say what I say. Goodbye.
There is the South, and then there is Mississippi. If you are black, those are not always the same thing. Because see, Mississippi is not just a place on a map. It is a place where the soil remembers. It remembers lynching trees. It remembers burned churches. It remembers bodies pulled from rivers. It remembers names that never made the news. People ask, why are black people so suspicious about what happened to Nolan Wells and the subsequent investigation? It is because history has taught us to be. Mississippi has earned all of this skepticism. This is the state where Emmett Till's killers walked free, where Medgar Evers was murdered in his own driveway, where Schwerner, Cheney, and Goodman were murdered for helping to register black voters, where during the Mississippi burning investigation, the FBI uncovered the remains of other murdered black men whose disappearances had gone largely unnoticed, For generations, Black families learned something that America still struggles to understand. Justice delayed was not the exception. It was often the expectation. Too many deaths were ruled accidents. Too many murders were unsolved. Too many investigations ended with more questions than answers. That history does not disappear because the calendar changed. Trauma does not have an expiration date. So when Black people ask hard questions about Nolan Wells, it is because generation after generation we have watched justice come too late or not at all. It is the accumulated weight of watching cases ignored, witnesses dismissed, evidence overlooked, and families denied justice. You cannot spend centuries teaching people that the system won't protect them and then act offended when they don't trust it. History matters. Context matters. And in Mississippi, its racist history is never, ever very far away.
92% girl power redefined.
Friends. What happened with Nolan Wells is a ritual amongst white people, especially white men, white males. Typically when you see this dynamic, it'll happen right before a major milestone. So right before a Black male teenager graduates high school, right before a young Black man graduates college and then goes into the workforce or goes into the real world. At this point, I kind of feel like it might be a rite of passage where they get their first Black body. Tamala Horsford is a similar incident where you see that this was a Black woman. However, the mechanics was a little bit different. Rather than it being swimming, it was a sleepover. So this can happen in both male and female dynamics. However, it's a lot more common than we think it is. I remember my first Nolan Wells experience being in high school. We had a phenomenal Black athlete who was loved all around the school. He was super popular, super personable, also attractive. And it was known that not only did the majority of his friends comprise non-Black people, girls that he was attracted to were also non-Black. Now, prior to him graduating high school, maybe about a week before it was time for him to graduate, he went swimming with his friends. This was also someone who was on the swim team, and he was the only one that ended up dead. There was no investigations. They ended up finding his body, much like with the case with Nolan Wells, and there was no major investigations. And I remember it just never set right with any of us because we were like, how does somebody drown who's on a swim team? Nobody knows anything, and it just gets swept under the rug or just closed so quickly. And that was my first indication that, okay, I think that it was more to that incident than met the eye and that we were told. And over the last 19 years, I've heard of multiple cases. I will go ahead and put some up here of Black men that have lost their lives at the hands of people that they trusted. Carmelo Anthony is similar. However, it's a different caveat. He wasn't unalived. He was incarcerated. And then when his friend that he was at the track meet with testified if they were friends, he said no. It's extremely dangerous to be the only Black person in a group of non-Black people. Black males don't understand that you are the target. Many of us still don't get that we are the target. Even down to social media, a lot of our content is consumed. Our vernacular, AAVE, the way we move our hands as Black women, the way we do different things like this, our expressions, slogans, our dances, the way we wear our hair, the way we wear our clothing. We are the target. We are the focus. And when you don't realize that you're the focus and you're thinking that people are around you because they like you, you might misinterpret their intentions. And this happens so often. Many times we as Black people think that non-Black people have good intentions when they're in our company. And we find out when it's way too late that they're not. So the family of Nolan Wells, our biggest condolences. Let's put our finances behind the family. Let's put our love around the family, our comfort. And also, if you are a parent, let's have a real conversation. Police brutality, being stopped by the police, being discriminated against, racism are not the only conversations that needs to be had with Black children. And irregardless if a child is mixed or not, or is biracial, the world identifies them as Black. So if they are perceived as Black, that means they will be treated as if they are Black. And if they will be treated as if they are Black, there needs to be a conversation to let them know what comes along with that. And sometimes one of the best conversations we could have with our children is letting them know they not your friends.
This is a PSA to all Black people, but mostly young Black men. Do not travel alone. Don't even go to the store by yourself. Do not walk alone. Do not travel alone. Don't take an Uber or Lyft by yourself. Don't ride your bike, your skateboard, none of that by yourself. Even if you're going to the store to get an Arizona tea and some Skittles, do not go alone. Go in groups. Especially if you live in a predominantly white or rural area. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that goes for you young ladies too. It is clear and apparent that we are being hunted in the United States of America. There's so many stories that are not even being talked about. A young man's family had to find him dismembered, shot, burnt, cut the fuck up in the woods. The police didn't even want to help them find this young man. I think that happened in Arkansas, I want to say. It's so many different stories. We all know what happened to Nolan Wells. And clearly this shit been happening since the beginning of time. What's scary is it's 2026. We are being hunted like animals in a country that our ancestors built. Energy and hatred that is unwarranted and undeserved. Our babies are not safe. Please teach your children to move in groups and not alone. It's not safe at this point, and it's sad that we even have to say this, that our kids can't even send them off to college, to the military, or anywhere else, because at this point their life is in danger. And as parents, we need to protect our children, to teach them not to focus on color in a world that stays focused on their color is very negligent. Teach your kids the truth about this country, how this country feels about them, and how they need to move while living in said country. You understand? It's time. I don't give a fuck if you're doing well for yourself and you live in a predominantly white area. You better teach your kids the truth about what the white kids' families think about them. Period. We're being hunted. Teach your
Like I
children.
said, we can't live in fear, though. That's definitely part of their plan. Yeah. I agree. We don't want to put anybody in a state of cortisol. We don't want to put anybody in a situation where they're going to be in constant fear, because the mind is powerful. All is mental. You could actually manifest negative situations and circumstances by like harping upon it, by having it on your by having it in your mind and whatnot. However, you can also raise your seeds to be militant and to have a head on swivel in all situations, for all colors, creeds, and whatever it is, right? There is something called situational awareness. There is a mentality that is quote unquote something that our parents, the baby boomers, they instilled that, we at war. And your ass don't go into certain neighborhoods after dark. We weren't necessarily in fear. We just had awareness. So when them street lights came on, if we found ourselves in Bensonhurst, and when them street lights came on and we found ourselves in predominantly Italian neighborhoods, and when the street lights came on and we found ourselves in predominantly white neighborhoods, we got the fuck on. We got the fuck, we got on our bikes, our BMX bikes, or whatever we was doing. We kept it moving, even when we was up to no good. Even when we were up to no good, we were still militant. So it is not necessarily about fear, but it's more so about situational awareness. You would almost fail the development aspect of your young warriors and whatnot, both male and female, if you were not putting them on to what I would say is game. That this is just game at the end of the day. This is the Hunger Games. So when we could talk about Black boy joy, we got to talk about Black boy pain, right? Especially during this quote unquote alignment that we find ourselves in, this basket and whatnot. We gotta approach the basket from all angles. Neptune is in Aries, my nigga. You understand? Pluto was in this bitch. So we gotta talk about it all. We gotta cover all bases. I'm not just gonna give the what they will call, I'm not just out here giving out feel-goodisms and whatnot. This is not for dopamine purposes. This is real shit. This is real world things. There's a lot of things that we're going to have to cover that's going on right now. And we're going to try to cover some of it tonight. Okay. Let's just remind one another again about what this alignment is about. Then we'll get right back to it. Let's go right back into the lessons.
week is bringing one of the biggest astrological events of the year. Andre Barbault, the astrologer who predicted the 2020 pandemic, said the rare alignment, now called Barbaults basket, peaking this week could trigger a relaunch of civilization. But before civilization relaunches, let's see what it means for you. Instead of looking at this as one giant portal to your future, think of it like 3 outer planets building the stage and Jupiter in Leo turning on the spotlight. Let's break it down. Connection 1. Jupiter trines Neptune. Your vision gets faith. But without grounding, vision can become delusion with excellent branding. Connection 2. Jupiter sextiles Uranus. The new idea gets an opening. A tool, a conversation, or an opportunity reveals a path to success the old plan missed. Connection 3. Jupiter opposes Pluto. Growth meets power. This can fuel transformation or let ego and control hijack the whole production. So this week is the battle between the freedom of who you are becoming and the false safety of who you had to be. Think of it like this. Neptune says imagine it, Uranus says update it, Pluto says transform it, Jupiter says let it grow, and your past says wait until it feels safe. That's what to expect. Here's what to do about it. Take one action the old version of you has been postponing and make it visible. It would be nice if Barbaults basket was delivering your future fully assembled, but it's not. The stage is built, the lighting is fantastic, but you still have to direct the show. So the question is, will the fear of your past or the wisdom of your future direct your present? And if you want a detailed breakdown of how all this energy will affect your individual sign, check out the full video on my YouTube channel. The link is in my bio.
Now check this out. All right. While this alignment was taking place and while the bread and circus was popping off, right, there was things taking place. There were things happening. Let's dial it back about a week and whatnot. Let's dial it back about a week. All right, check this out.
Wasn't even paying attention. What was humanity being prepared for whilst most of humanity wasn't even paying attention? One raising more money than any IPO in history for a company designed to take humanity further into space. Another one publicly releasing information about unexplained phenomena within it. And another one mentally preparing millions of people to imagine what extraterrestrial disclosure and contact might look like. All on the same day, June the 12th, 6/12. And remember, this happened in the same country hosting 75% of the World Cup matches. But you see, when I looked at the number 6/12, I noticed something else. In Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12, it says that we are not fighting against human beings, but against the wicked spiritual forces in the heavenly world, the rulers, authorities, and cosmic powers of this dark age. Now, I'm not saying that this verse proves that UFOs, UAPs, and aliens are demons. And I'm not saying that SpaceX, the American government, and Steven Spielberg secretly coordinated their calendars. I'm saying that 3 major planned American events, all involving space, unidentified phenomena, and extraterrestrial disclosure, all happen to fall on the same date of 6/12 or June the 12th. And the biblical passage of Ephesians 6 verse 12 interestingly highlights a battle between humanity and forces beyond ordinary flesh and blood. You can decide what you believe that means, but I find that alignment simply too difficult to ignore. But the most important question is not, do aliens exist? The most important question is, did you even notice? Because the World Cup was planned. The SpaceX IPO was planned. The government documents release was planned. Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day movie release was planned. Whether they were planned together, I cannot prove. But their effect on your attention is much easier to see. Because whilst much of the world was watching football, that's something that was happening in the world. And it's just really interesting that it was decided that it would happen the day after the World Cup began, not before. So the information was not hidden from you, it just arrived at a time when your attention was already occupied. Because your attention is a limited currency, and you cannot focus on everything at once. So whatever holds your attention also determines what remains outside of it. For 5 weeks, we became experts at recognizing and examining patterns inside of the stadium. But now that the World Cup is over, it's time to zoom out and take a look at what's happening outside of it. Because if this is what you were distracted from whilst your attention was on the footballing world, What are some other things that you've been distracted from concerning your personal world? The story of this year's World Cup is over, but the story you weren't watching has only just begun.
So with that video that I'm showing you, where the brother breaks down how while we're paying attention to one thing, there's a bunch of things going on in the background while we are caught up in the bread and circus and whatnot. I want everybody to pay attention to the next 3 to 4 days. Okay? Don't fall asleep at the wheel. Understand that this alignment, they are going to make major moves in the window of the alignment. The first major move that was made was yesterday. That was FIFA, right? And I would say, even though people could say that's a distraction, I would say the outcome of yesterday was a real positive. That brought Black boy joy. That was a huge positive to see Argentina, a historical quote unquote team and whatnot, this historically racist and whatnot, go down at the hands of another historical colonizing nation. But the difference is this historical colonized nation, Spain, has now took somewhat of a quote unquote positive turn. Not this nation of Spain, not the reputation of Spain, not the history of Spain, just the way that they're moving right now with the way that they're aligning themselves, right? The energy that they're aligning with is Palestine. The energy that they're aligning themselves with is that they have a Moor that's basically the face of their league and whatnot. They have a melanated man, a Moor, right? A Islamic young man is 19 years old, basically pushing this whole thing and whatnot. So that when you weigh that against, it's the lesser of two evils. When you weigh that against Argentina, who basically wiped out their entire melanated population in about 50 years and whatnot. Yeah, it's not just one melanated it's two of them on the team, two Africans and whatnot, right? Them heat waves. Yeah, Yamel and Nico, right? So the win, they were focusing on Yamel the whole time and whatnot, but then Nico rose up as the underdog, and he basically was the one who basically got the chip for them. So both of them have been pedestaled. Both of them have been quote unquote risen up. That is humongous in the Latin American region. That is going to do monumental, powerful things inside of Europe. That's basically being taken over by Moors. The West Africans, the North Africans, they are the ones that are overrunning Europe right now. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. I don't care how nobody opposes it and whatnot. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, go ride out with your goddamn conquistador colonizers. It doesn't matter. That energy is not going anywhere. They pulling through the Straits of Gibraltar. There's a blackening of Europe taking place, and I'm here for all of it. You feel me? I am here for all of it. So there's a lot of shit going on, but then there's also a lot of things happening in our favor. It's called balance. It's called balance. You feel me? There's a divine balance. So sometimes we have to be able to deal with the balance. If you're going to take the joy, then you got to be able to take the pain. Shout out to Rob Bass. Shout out to Rob Bass. Joy in pain.
A proposed data center in Virginia could soon afford.
You know? Because that's what we're dealing with. The balance. You can't have one without the other. Okay? And that is what's going on right now. There's a lot of joy and there's a lot of pain. Okay? When that autopsy drops, when that autopsy drops, yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Well. Check it out, y'all. It's your boy Tony Blizz with another update in the Nolan Wells case. This is TJ Davis, and his mother is saying that he was picked up by some white kids and taken to Horn Island, and he apparently drowned, and the other white kids came back Without him, same situation as Nolan Wells. So Nolan Wells wasn't the first time. Isn't this interesting? What are your thoughts? Leave them in the comments.
So this is not, once again, these situations are coming to light. They've been buried and whatnot, but these dry bones are crying out. So the shit is coming to the front. And as melanated parents, we should not be running away from it. We should not be trying to throw it underneath the rug. We should not be trying to put that shit in the closet and whatnot. We should not be turning the other cheek and just praying that there are going to be better days. And we should be more proactive.
The black man has been attacked in a white space, and I need y'all to listen to this video because we got some work to do.
And one of races.
Remember, y'all, Red Summer, okay? Red Summer, and I'm not trying to provoke anything. There's no provocation or none whatsoever coming from this side. I'm not rebel rousing. That's my disclaimer, of course. I'm not rebel rousing. I'm not provoking. I am not doing any type of provocateurism. I am simply reporting the news. I am the media. I am very biased, however. You feel me? I stand on the side of the unrepresented, and I'm telling the stories that have been hidden from the mainstream media. That's all. But I'm also a forecaster, and I can forecast that this has been, we in the Jason months. So I'm definitely forecasting that they are piling up infractions. There's a lot of piling up of quote unquote infractions. They are literally race baiting. And if you were to ask me, I would say that Nolan Wells, right, is a direct response to Carmelo Anthony. That is exactly what you're seeing and whatnot. And the fact that it was done on the 4th of July when America turned 250 years old, whoever put in that work, that was a supreme rites of passage. Whoever put in that work for whatever secret society or whatever organization that they probably are, are tied to through Mississippi and through the judge, that was very honorable on their end. You feel me? That was very honorable on their end. That was a rites of passage to put them in, put their asses in a Grand Dragon position or a white sheep position. July the 4th, and he took out a football player who literally looked like our Carmelo Anthony in archetypical fashion. You know, it was like body for body. But let us go.
Long friends, and the mother's son was at a festival with a population of 98% white here in Petoskey, right, Michigan. Now, we got the call that he had excruciating damage to his neck, as if somebody was trying to cut his head off. Now, this is graphic, trigger warning. He's currently in the ICU. He's been in the ICU since Sunday. The incident happened Sunday early morning. Now, the police department, which I'm currently at, told me that they were going to handle this stuff, that they were going to be in communication with us. They have failed to do so. In fact, they said that they were going to, they don't know who we are and we could be blowing smoke up their ass. Possible before people flee and everything like that.
Sure, but at the same time, I don't know what your credentials are. I don't know if you could just be blowing a bunch of smoke.
It is now 2:09 p.m. The office closes at 4 p.m. and I'm going to show you that as well. And I told them I was going to bring the mother, and they locked the goddamn door. Daryl, fantastic man.
All right, y'all. Happy Thanksgiving. We got Eric Stone in the driver's seat. We got T. Kanye back there.
We need your guys' help. We need you guys to blow them the fuck up, because here we have another incident of a black man going to an all-white event, and now he's on his deathbed.
The fact that the police shut down early so his mother could not actually go in so they could get information is, I'm sorry, it's not even crazy to me. So y'all know what to do. It's a call to action. Blow up their phones. Make them answer. And justice for Lon Hartman. They tried to fucking take his head. And Michigan State Police, y'all better get on y'all fucking jobs.
So it seemed like after the situation with Carmelo and his father, remember Carmelo went to jail, but the father got online and blew the dog whistle, right? We're living inside of Trump's America, mind you. We're still living inside the throes of Trump's America. So everybody is on code. The judges are on code. The popo is on code. Their sons are on code. They basically is like, yo, you could get away with whatever the fuck you do. Just make sure that you cover your tracks and utilize the system to protect you, to guard you and whatnot. We'll take it from there. Okay. But yeah, shit is real. Shit is definitely real. We need our family structures, if not to come together, we need the family structures to become a little more stronger. I'm not against co-parenting. If the relationship doesn't work out, keep the peace. You feel me? And just operate and function through co-parenting. I don't know about the sister wife thing. I'm not an advocate for polygamy. Sister wife, yeah, the more books need to be written on that. Niggas have not figured that out the right way. Let the lesbianism shit and all of that other stuff to be going on is just too messy for me. You know what I mean? I don't co-sign that. I don't know what that's about. I'm not judging and I'm not generalizing, but for the ones that are functioning properly, y'all need to write more books. Y'all need to do more blogs. Y'all need to get in front of the ones that are dysfunctional and are messing up the images of and they're just messing the whole fucking plan up. What I see what works is co-parenting and people who are basically locked in as traditional family units and whatnot. The father, the mother, and the child holding the shit down. If the father and the mother are not together, I'm still advocating, because at war, when shit goes down, when as you can see, the Cold War is beginning to heat up and whatnot, and they're definitely taking advantage of people that, they don't it don't even matter, because these black boys got fathers. These black boys got fathers that are getting done dirty. It's not like it's a single mother type of. I'm never framing it like that. I am not framing it like that. But we need some more militancy. Like the video, a few videos before this said, even if you consider yourself out the hood and whatnot, you're not out of the quote unquote. You're not out of the. You're not off the plantation yet. Yeah, talk to us when we do the sovereignty ticker tape parade. Until then, my nigga, you're behind enemy lines. I don't give a fuck where you move to. So there's some other shit going on in our community that needs to be talked about that we're going to bring up right now. And it's dealing with the agenda, right? And the agenda that a lot of people are speaking against is dealing with the quote unquote alternative. Hold on. Who's calling out the Moors? Who exactly is calling them out? And somebody says, who does the police belong to? If they don't belong to you, they belong to who they belong to when they was doing when they did what they did to Emmett Till. Those the same police, whoever they belonged to back then, that's who they belong to now. As a matter of fact, that's a great question. Let me get the answer for you, because I don't have all the answers, but let's get an answer from somebody that can explain who they belong to.
In LA, the way it works is this. You had the Jews, right? And they had their own clubs and their own thing going, right? You had the Gentiles and they had their own thing going, and the two don't meet. Okay, they don't get along. But the great mitigator and mediator is Freemasonry. So in LA, if you want to do business there, you have to become a Freemason first, and then you can, you'll be allowed to do business. But if you're not at least a Freemason, and you can be a member of other guilds and clubs as well, but they are all under the control, in a sense, of Freemasonry. That's the overarching control mechanism. So Freemasonry is, why Jews do Jews and Gentiles do business? How can they get along at all in a place like Los Angeles, Hollywood versus, say, WASP business or whatever? And the reason is because they have the same religion, not Judaism, not Christianity, not racism, but Freemasonry. And that's the glue that binds it all together. That's how business works, because Jews and Gentiles, although there's antipathy and even enmity, this ancient hatred, do get along to do business, to profit, and one needs the other. The difference with the Jews and the Gentiles is that the Jews in LA, they help each other, but the Gentiles put each other in a circular firing squad, and they kill each other. But the Jews, they stick together, and the next studio chief will be somebody that, Junior here, who's come up through the ranks, and we've groomed him through the ranks. He'll be taking over, and it's all one big nepotistic clusterfuck. That's basically that's why Hollywood is dead now, and I believe it will burn down eventually.
Yeah. So those people come together, and like he said, they get in bed with each other for business. And there's no bigger business in America than the business of our dysfunction, right? They've been able to monetize that. And one of the biggest forms of dysfunction that got introduced in our community was alternative lifestyles between the years of the 60s, after LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, took over, and he began to introduce this whole concept of taking the father out the home. And then Gloria Steinem, by way of the CIA, brought in this whole new version of Black feminism, which Valentine calls Black feminazis, right? And the erosion of the masculine image of Black men has been taking place over the years, and we're beginning to see the effects of it, right? It's very apparent, but we're really beginning to see it roll out. So check this out.
Is female. No, the future needs to be family, or we are cooked. We do not need to burn down the patriarchy. We do not need a woman president, and we do not need men versus women. We need men and women building strong families together, because every civilization, every community, and every generation exists because a man and a woman came together to build something bigger than themselves. That is how societies flourish, not through division, but through unity. The strongest nations aren't built by independent people competing against each other. They're built by strong families raising stronger children with strong values. So no, the future isn't female, the future isn't male, the future is family. And if we stop protecting families, we shouldn't be surprised when society keeps falling apart. So if you're pro-family and you want to see strong families be celebrated and encouraged again, follow along.
This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the one and only Plaque Boy Max. And if anybody's a fan of this channel, then y'all been hearing the name Plaque Boy Max over the years, because he's been on my radar, right? He wasn't on my gaydar. He was on my radar because when it came to the streamers, I rated Plaque Boy Max as one of the top streamers, right? Because what he initially started out doing, okay, he was doing like music. He's like a producer and whatnot. Not only was he making music, but he was recording and making, he was recording artists and whatnot. And he was basically he kind of pioneered this whole thing with the underground scene, right? Even though I don't listen to the underground music like laser, what is it? Laser Dim 700, that new sound that they got where they basically sound like they screaming and shit. That's just not for me, right? But Plaque Boy Max was like the face of that, you know what I'm saying? Then he moved to LA, okay? And when he moved to LA, he started to exhibit all of these new type of personalities or whatever. Now, you got to remember, when it comes to the streaming community, they take on personas. They're very persona based. They have storylines. Think wrestling, right? Think wrestling, right? They all take on these personas. Like Kai Cenat has a storyline, and he's working a character, and they all have these characters, and they all have storylines, basically. And they play out on stream. Somebody said my rating of streamers is not good. Yeah, what streamers you talking about? What rating record are you speaking about? Because what I do is I'm a grown ass man. You understand? And I got children. So what I do is I inform my audience who happen to also, I'm not talking to no teenagers. I'm talking to parents, right? So what I do is I put parents onto game. I put parents onto the game about what's going on, probably right in the next room with their children and whatnot, what their children are tapping into, what the youth are tapping into. I keep a pulse on the youth, and I don't have no horse in the race. I'm not biased. I'm going to give you the information because, once again, I am the media. I'm giving you information. This ain't about who. I don't like nobody. You know, but I definitely was talking about Black Boy Max for about 2 years and whatnot, because Son is he's a superstar in that space. He's one of the ones. If there's a top 10, he's part of that top 10. You know what I'm saying? And he just has become super zesty over the past, I would say, I don't know, maybe 2 years and whatnot. I really stopped tapping into him. He wasn't even streaming for a while. Then he popped up. He was doing super zesty shit. So make a long story short, his story is going viral over this weekend. He basically got approached by another streamer at Streamer University, and the other streamer pulled him to the side. Well, he didn't pull him to the side. He was on live and whatnot. And the other streamer, who I think is Jamaican, has a Jamaican background, he was cooking him. You know what I'm saying? He was basically like, yo, you you turning into a botsy boy. You know what I mean? And in perfect fashion, instead of, you know, not to say that he should have knocked them out or he should have started scrapping and whatnot, but, you know, when I was growing up, you know what I mean, sometimes that would be the case. You would have to throw hands if somebody was trying to play with you like that. You would throw hands, but the nigga started crying. You know, he started crying and whatnot, and it's created a conversation, right? It's created a conversation, and that conversation is basically framed around, you know, there's many conversations that are coming out of this. Conversations is zest maxing, right? People, these streamers who are influencing millions of kids, right? Because remember, the majority of the people following him are younger than him, right? So they're influencing millions of children globally, because the streamers are on a global run right now. They're not local, they're global superstars, as you see with I Show Speed and Kai Cenat. So the conversation is about, do you just let people be themselves, or do you, if you really care about somebody, what do you say to them if you see the character that they're becoming and is unbecoming of them, right? If I'm gonna just say, so he thinks he's a rock star. I guess that's what it is. So they're like, yo, if Young Thug could basically, you know, because Young Thug was zest maxing. It's called zest maxing. It's like gay for pay, right? He says he's not into men. You know what I mean? He's just basically exploring. He's like, I'm exploring my, I'm just exploring. I'm trying shit out, right? So my dude, he's like, nah, that's non-cypher. Like, we don't do it like that. Like, you playing yourself. And homies start crying and shit. So it's creating a whole dialogue. And I figured that we're going to talk about this because this is interesting, because there's children are out here. They're going to start mimicking this behavior if they haven't already. I would say in the streamer community, it's extremely zesty. And I've said it before, the streamers are wild zesty, and they're using the zestiness to get subs into it's basically gay for pay because they're acting zesty so they could basically get more subs, get more followers, right? This is a little disturbing. So yeah, let's get into it.
Your son that you are a diva? Daddy, what's diva? Hey, get the f out of here. That is an abomination, Max. I am not proud of you. I am proud of everything else you did. Nominations, changing the game, changing your skin to Baki Diva. Diva start with D. Diddy. What else? You know, it's like this, Max. And you know, I could speak like this because after the clips go up and they don't like me, I don't use social media no more.
So they are coming after homie with a force that I haven't seen before. The minute he said this to Plaque Boy, you should have seen how many streamers started going against homie right here. I think his name is OJ Suave. I'm talking about the backlash was brutal. The backlash was brutal. And only a few real ones is standing up and saying, nah, fuck that. That's how you supposed to do it. Like, you know what I mean? What's going on with the children of today that you can't keep it real with them? What's going on with these kids and whatnot, with these soy boys that you can't keep it real? Like you can't, he's not turning up on him. He's giving that nigga some tough love. He's talking to his soul. He didn't even, this is not an ether. He's not ethering him. Because an ether is like a diss. It's like, I'm gonna make a song on you. I'm gonna turn up. No, he's just talking to his soul because he's like, you not the person that I remember. What the hell going on? You don't have to do all of this. You nice in basketball. The ladies is obviously on your body and whatnot. Why are you acting zesty for what? Yeah, he got a father. I seen his dad. He has his father in his life. He from New Jersey. So homie is G checking them, and then this nigga start crying. He started going into this victim mode, and it's setting off a big conversation. So yeah, let's go.
Nominations, changing the game, changing your skin to Baki Diva. Diva start with D.
Oh yeah, he has a tattoo called on the side of his body, and it spells diva. This young man, this is the light-skinned brother right there, Plaque Boy, the Zest Monster. He has a tattoo on his body called, and it says diva. So now he acting like a diva. You understand? And it wouldn't be nothing if he was just a regular degular and whatnot, but he has millions and millions and millions of young children basically following him, looking up to him, and just caught up in his aura and whatnot. So that's where this whole controversy is coming from.
Diddy, what else? You know, it's like this, Max. And you know, I could speak like this because
yes, and he got a vasectomy. He got a look. Let me just show you what's going on with these kids. And once again, I'm just giving the stats. This is like, if I was, it's almost like I'm broadcasting and I'm just giving y'all the stats of the game. This nigga got a butt reduction, right? So I don't know no man that got a butt reduction. He didn't get a BBL. He got a butt reduction. Then he got a vasectomy because he saw something on the stream one day and somebody was like, yeah, you don't have to worry about having children when you're sleeping with these women if you just clip it. And he clipped it. He got a vasectomy. He's in his 20s and whatnot. Then he got a diva tattoo and a nigga wearing wigs. So I'm like, what's going on in LA? Because when he was living elsewhere, he wasn't moving like that. So then he just won't come out and say it. Everybody was like, yo, is everything all right? You into dudes or something? Nah, I'm just chilling. I'm a rock star. Yikes. This is called confusion. He's doing more damage than good.
after the clips go up and they don't like me, I don't use social media no more, so I can be a crackhead for life. When you keep pushing that barrier, Max, When he keep pushing that barrier.
Some real shit.
And time.
Everything he said was super duper real, and I respect.
So that's Sauce Walker from Houston, Texas, you know. Ooh-wee. You know, and Sauce Walker be wearing fucking beads in his head, but Sauce Walker is not trying to be no zest monster. So, you know, Sauce Walker, he's reacting to it. This is taking place on Kick. Remember Kick?
Everything he said, and everything he said was gangsta. I feel all that. But the most honorable thing that he said over everything was that, nigga, I don't give a fuck if the shit that I'm telling you get me kicked off streaming you. I don't care if the shit that I'm telling you get me banned on the internet or they try to cancel me and my aura persona on the internet because I'm telling you some real shit, man to man, black man to black man, is entrepreneur to entrepreneur, the streamer to streamer, influencer to influencer. Nigga, you represent a nation of men. You represent a culture of young boys inspiring to be grown ass men. Why would you use this power? Why would you use this platform? Why would you use this incredible impact and opportunity to confuse a little boy that looks up to you as a successful hero through the internet and through technology and through tech and through these applications to tell him that he should be a diva like fucking Beyonce or Sierra? When you supposed to be telling this nigga he supposed to be like the Incredible Hulk, he supposed to be like LeBron James, the fucking nigga Goku, or yourself, nigga, Black Boy Max. That's the person. You're gonna wake up one day and look at your son and tell him he a diva?
Nah, people would be like, man, Red
what
Pill,
happened to just being a pretty boy? That's enough. Being a pretty boy is enough. That ain't no fly shit. A diva.
So,
certain
right.
things you gotta let women have. Certain things are meant for women.
So they moving the goalposts on pretty boy shit. Cause you see these niggas is wearing nail polish and they got purses and whatnot. So back in my days, when a nigga got his eyebrow shaped up, that was like the line, like, oh shit, son is crossed over. He's gone. This nigga went to the Dominicans and got the eyebrow shaped up. Oh nah, he's gone. When people started making it a big thing, when you scuffed their construction Timberlands, remember these are boots. I've been wearing my constructions for an entire year. The same boots that I'm wearing right now, I wore those in Colombia. I wore those over the winter. I don't give a fuck. I hit them with a brush and I'm good. They're construction boots. I'm not supposed to be wearing a brand new boots. Nigga, they're for construction. I am being constructive when I wear them. I could give a fuck if they're leaning or whatever. Nigga, these are construction boots. I'm wearing them until they get a hole in them. But these little niggas is taking pretty boy shit to another level. So they'd be like, Red Pill, why are we talking about this? We're grown. Nigga, this shit went viral in the basket. Okay, this shit is going viral in Barbaults basket, nigga. Inside of this powerful 444 alignment, this is the story that these kids is paying attention to right now. This shit is uber viral, promise you. So this question about sexuality, this question about where do you draw the line? Can you even speak about it? Can you chastise anybody about it without being canceled? Because homie got super canceled quick. I'm talking about Consonnet, all of them turned against him. And it's like, damn, bro, I thought, since when did this become an issue? Like, you can't speak to niggas? If one of my mans was acting zesty and whatnot for gay for pay, I'm gonna say, fam, what the fuck going on? Like, I gotta talk to you. We're gonna have an intervention. I don't care if it's online or offline. We will attempt to do it offline, of course. But if you online doing shit, we're going to approach you online, bro. That's just what friends do. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell?
All right, so I was scrolling and I seen this original clip last night. And I disagree how everybody is attacking this man for talking to him about being gay as fucking wanting to be a diva on camera. Hold on.
You a diva? Why you want to be a diva? On some fly shit. Why you wanna be a diva? Some fly shit. You're a diva. You need holy oil, right? You need to sit down in the holy oil. You need to go get a church bath and cleanse your body, right? I think you are confused. I think you need some guidance. I think your parents feel a little way about that. I think you're clip farming and you getting your clips. You pushing the persona. You smart. You loyal.
I mean this in the most disrespectful way. This is exactly why we have a community of young gay men. This is exactly why we have a community of young black men who would rather be streamers than construction workers, engineers, because y'all are soft as fuck. Sometimes you need to tell people what they need to hear when they need to hear it in that moment. Everything is not about your comfortability. That's the issue. Y'all want to be comfortable. Y'all need to be chastised for y'all's behavior. This boy is walking around behaving like a female for financial gain, and y'all want to walk around that campus trying to condemn this mature grown man to allow him to behave ignorantly when it's not okay. Oh, well, he should have did that off camera. Nope. You acting a fool on camera, I'm going to check you on camera. Everybody needed to hear that because there are other young black men who are behaving like him and nobody's telling them what is correct. Y'all are walking around telling people to stop saying shit because you're uncomfortable because it's hitting you. Because it's hitting you. Because y'all mamas and y'all daddies coddled y'all. They didn't tell y'all what y'all needed to hear. They made it very much people pleasing. No, baby, he needed to hear that. Why didn't y'all want him to be told that on camera? Because clearly nobody's telling him that off of camera. What are you saying? Clearly nobody's telling him off of camera.
And that's why you see a pushback from Rakai, Kai, all of them they all been acting zesty on camera. And no, they don't have no big bro energy over there. They don't have big homie energy. There's not no real men around these little kids. These kids are so influential right now. It is scary. They've become behemoths. And nobody can check them. Nobody is telling them, nah, Sam, you crossing the line. Like, you're not a white boy. That's the shit that they could do. You're not a white boy. You're not a white boy frat. You're not Seth Rogen and whatnot. They're doing Seth Rogen type shit on live. So it's like nobody is checking none of them. So the minute homie come and check Black Boy, because he's the one that took it the furthest, in my humble opinion. Some of them be playing around with that shit, but this nigga right here, he's the one out of that whole bunch that's literally going to the max with it. No pun intended.
Because he continues to do things that are not okay. It's not okay. Y'all are supporting his demonic behavior. Y'all are supporting his ungodly behavior. It's ungodly. What he's doing is not appropriate. You're a young man. Why are you got piercings in your face? Why are you wearing wigs? Why are you behaving in certain ways? It's not okay. And this is why the black community is going downhill, because y'all don't want to hear when you're wrong. Y'all want people to say behind closed doors, no, we're going to start checking y'all on camera because your behavior is inappropriate. This man is a grown man and he didn't say nothing wrong. He was speaking facts. He was speaking facts. So if you're saying, oh, well, he should have did it off camera, you're an immature adolescent and your parents failed you.
Since the fucking 80s with Prince, since the fucking late 90s and early 2000s with Andre 3K and Busta Rhymes, all the way up to the fucking 2010s with Thug and Lil Wayne.
So a line is literally being drawn as we speak, because everybody in that youth movement is not a zest monster. Everybody in that youth movement is tired of kind of like having to be quiet. There's pushback going on from both sides, but the young men that are tired of this shit, they are using this situation to say, nah, fuck that. Something needs to be said. Something needs to be, you know what I mean? We need to have this conversation. It is not okay. Y'all cannot just do whatever y'all want to do in front of the world and whatnot and think that the fathers, the brothers, and the uncles are just going to sit back and let that shit go and whatnot, and we're going to carry on, and we're going to, no, that's not, that's not what's about to happen. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah, this conversation is sparking a lot of online thought pieces.
And all that type of shit. Since the fucking late 90s and early 2000s with Andre 3K and Busta Rhymes all the way up to the fucking 2010s with Thug and Lil Wayne and all that type of shit. We done had motherfuckers who was different in a way, who was open-minded, artistically and all that. We get that, bro. We all get that. But what I'ma say is, at the end of the day, masculinity is like really on its way to getting erased off the fucking earth, bro. And no matter how bad niggas want to act like the shit that Black Boy Max is pushing and the shit that he doing, it's really the problem. Like, it's really pushing it to a way more narrative. Like, when you got tens of thousands of fucking kids on your joint that idolize you and be like, damn, I want to be a big streamer like Black Boy Max, and then you on the joint talking about some, why can't men twerk? What's wrong with men twerking and shit like that? That's what we not going to act like that's not a fucking problem. We're not going to act like one of the biggest fucking celebrities when it comes to streaming saying he a fucking diva and kids idolize him. We not going to act like that's not a fucking problem. Point blank, period.
Changing the game. Changing your skin to Baki Diva? Start with D. Diddy. What else? It's like this, Max. I could speak like this because after the clips go up and they don't like me, I don't use social media no more, so I can be a crackhead for life. When you keep pushing that barrier, Max, when you keep pushing that barrier and time passes, what happens? What next? What's the next engagement? What's the next clip? Don't lose yourself, don't sell your soul, Max. They want your soul because you changed the game. Don't sell your soul. You know I have a soul. I don't hold my tongue. You the first.
So when he said to the young man, don't sell your soul, this is the basis of what a lot of people in this community have based their whole personality and their existence around, identifying the Illuminati and artists that are selling their souls. That's why a lot of people have been encapsulated and infatuated with what they call consciousness. I want to ask the audience, what the fuck is selling your soul? And what is y'all example of selling your soul, especially the ones out there that are so pro the black boys doing all type of fuckery? What is selling your soul? He said they want your soul. Do not sell your soul. What is selling your soul? Since running around being a part of that community is why do they equate selling your soul with being bent over? Why do they equate selling your soul with being a part of an alternative lifestyle? If they, I mean, I don't understand. What is selling your soul? Because you can't say selling your soul is promoting devil activities. A lot of the rappers rap about devilish activities. I don't think that that's considered. I don't know if that's selling your soul. The majority of the people coming into the game is talking about bodying shit, killing shit, spinning on people, packing niggas up, selling drugs, selling pussy. What is selling your soul? What does that mean? Is it ass activities? Because if that is the case, then how many people are selling their soul? Because they're looking for the Illuminati. No, the Illuminati didn't give me the phone call. I didn't sell my soul. But selling your soul, there is no Illuminati. The Illuminati is that devil on your shoulder sometime. The Illuminati could be lust. The Illuminati is losing your manhood. I don't know. I just want to know what is selling your soul, because that comes up a lot. So the confusion, once again, there's a confusion going on all up in these communities. I don't care if it's the conscious community. I don't care if it's the industry. I don't care if it's the streets. There's a confusion. There's a Confucius going on with we can't seem to get it right because there's no the definition. Things are not being defined clearly. On one end, there's a promotion of a certain lifestyle. There's a turn your other cheek. Nah, that let them do what they want to do. Let them have their fun. Let them. But then on the other end, when you look at it, that's selling your soul. So what is it? Because two things can't be right at once, or can it? Doing anything for personal gains, even when it goes against your beliefs and your values. Right. So boom. That is a great definition. Thank you, 44888. Right? And when Young Miami and the City Girls came out and they were telling these young girls, they first started locally, then they expanded, and they was basically saying, get it how you live it. Get it by any means necessary, even if it goes against your nature. Grab them ankles and do whatever it got to take to get a bag. Then when them young boys came out and they was like, yo, whatever you got to do, ran it up, go in them banks and whatnot, bust them checks, going against their nature, going against what they know is not right, going against that federal time that they done known mad people is getting for shit like this. Is that selling your soul, or is that just regular street shit? Because there's a very thin line between street shit and selling your soul. And I think that it needs to be clearly defined, because these children don't know if they're selling their soul or not. They're just think that they think that they taking penitentiary chances. They just think that they're taking penitentiary chances. What the hell? Can we get a clear definition in a list of what selling your soul is, and everybody could basically sign off, and we should vote on this shit. So when we go to the youth, we be like, nah, yo, you selling your soul if you letting them people play with you in your face like that. If you letting them people do whatever they want to do. If you out here zest maxing and whatnot, you're on the road to selling your soul, because something is going to happen and you're not going to be able to look yourself in the mirror while proud of yourself, because you're going against your nature. That's not really you. And once again, I'm just asking a question, right? I'm asking a question. I am being the devil's advocate, and I'm asking questions, but I'm truly seeking answers. Let me put that video back up. Here was Sis. All right, let me re-upload that, because somehow that video's kind of froze.
You need to find me.
That video froze. Give me 1 second.
Andy Serkis says the racist.
Give me 1 second.
Well. Check it out, y'all. It's your boy Tony Blizz with another update in the Nolan Well.
Let me find that video.
You need to find. Meet David Roulette, an army.
Today we lost Africa. Andy Serkis.
You need to find me.
Give me 1 second. Where's that?
I'll break down something. No bug.
New call unlocked.
How we going to just on?
What will humanity be?
Man. Hold on. Check this out. This is a little controversial. Like I said, this is how this man sees it, right? And I'm just sharing the information, right? But check it out.
The most violent gangsters was niggas who had secret sexual desires. Just think about it. The reason why these niggas so violent against other men, because they love men and they want to be plugged by men, but they be resisting the urge. That's why them niggas be doing all that kind of shit. Damn. All that tough talking. Nigga, you want to kiss a nigga. See, listen, that's why you see little Birdman kissing Lil Wayne. Birdman and kissed all them bitch ass niggas in the mouth, and they enjoyed it. They all for sale.
Not BG though.
BG's a sissy. He's a sissy. You can look at all, yeah. You retarded slow. What grade did you go to again?
Now, for context purposes, this brother Dogface is one of those, you know how Charleston White is like a shock jock? You know how Charleston White is considered a shock jock? Saying things that you know are going to go viral and shocking people, right? Like 607 Unk. There's a whole crop of them now. They get on the internet and they'll say shit completely going to the extremes, because they're gonna know that it's gonna go viral and whatnot. So he has a campaign against the Louisiana and New Orleans rappers and whatnot. And he been calling them out, but he been saying some real shit that, you know what I mean, that kind of could get, you know, get his shit pushed back, like could get him hurt, you know what I mean? But yeah, he's asking questions. But let's go back to the first video with this sister, because I want to hear her commentary.
Changing the game. Changing your skin to Bati Diva. Start with D. Diddy. What else? It's like this, Max. I could speak like this because after the clips go up and they don't like me, I don't use social media no more, so I can be a crackhead for life. When you keep pushing that barrier, Max, when you keep pushing that barrier and time passes, what happens? What next? What's the next engagement? What's the next clip? Don't lose yourself, don't sell your soul, Max. They want your soul because you changed the game. Don't sell your soul. You know I have a soul. I don't hold my tongue. You the first person that ever subbed me up as a big streamer in my chat. You didn't mention it. You don't know how much I appreciate you. But you bigger than that. Don't forget thank you for your personality. Is you crazy? You need to put on no persona. You broke through with music. Is you crazy? So suck my don't like you. It's like the character, but your main like you. Don't let rage bait you on your own stream. Is you crazy? You him. You're not no diva. Oh, not drop that. That's not true. You playing the character too much. I didn't got no diva. I'm gonna pop it because I'm not gonna get no comments today. I'm talking about I'm gonna get my because I want to SU.
All right. So I'm gonna pause him right there. And I agree with this part of it. Like, you basically got superstar status as a streamer because you were doing music, because of your personality. People liked who you are. This new thing of him wearing wigs is new. So what the other guy is saying is, listen, you don't have to lean into this character to get clicks. You're already him. You're already popular. You already have amassed a certain type of following from just being who you are. You don't have to put on a wig in order to get popularity. You don't have to put on a wig to try to get clips. You're already him. That's what he's saying. In the chat, somebody said, it looks like the beard man is trying to emotionally break / exhaust the light skin man. I disagree on that. I think that he's literally telling, like, seeing his behavior and he doesn't agree with it. And he's basically just letting him know that he doesn't have to lean into this character, because before he started talking to Max, there was a lot of people who have been calling Max out for months for gay baiting. He has been getting called out for this for a long time. A lot of people have been like, there's literally articles written up about Max gay baiting before this confrontation on the internet, because this has been a topic for a very long time of people who are saying, listen, why are you switching up? Why are you wearing wigs? Why are you doing this? Like, did somebody pay you? Is there an agenda? Like, people have been saying for months that he sold his soul because he completely is leaning into this gay character. But what the other guy is saying is, like, you already made it. Like, you don't have, like, what are you doing? Like, you don't have to do this. Now, another person in the chat said that Max seemed mostly upset that he said all that on stream, and not that he didn't agree with him. I disagree with that as well.
So here goes somebody in the chat. They say homophobia in the black community is going out of style, Rad. You aren't showing Platt Boy's response where he says, love each other. Interesting. We want to shut a nigga down for being comfortable, but what? As everybody who was here, as I framed the story and whatnot, I'm not shutting anybody down. I'm literally giving the context about what's going viral in the community, in particular, because we're in the window of a grand ritual that has taken place once in a motherfucking lifetime. Now, for your word homophobia, when I hear homophobia, I hear arachnophobia. Homophobia means the fear of homos, and nobody is afraid of a homosexual. That word is a misnomer. Claustrophobia, the fear of being in closeted spaces. Arachnophobia, fear of spiders. What the fuck is a homophobia? Nobody fears the shit. We're just speaking on it because we want to put some context as to what's going on. It's almost like a mental evaluation. Okay, something that they keep calling black boy joy. We have to really say, is this black boy joy or is this black boy pain? You understand? Why is this man crying if he has joy? Why don't he just be gay and happy? Why is he fucking crying? If somebody's gonna talk to him about his ways and what is there to cry about? Just be free. He had a lot to say when he walked away, when he wasn't next to that man, but when that man was in his ear, standing over him, speaking to his soul and whatnot, the nigga's crying. What are you crying about? What are you crying about? And where does the conversation, if this is all about love, how the hell does love and selling your soul always get intertwined with one another? Riddle me that. How does this love shit and selling your soul that don't even make sense? If somebody proposes, I was looking at Streamer University and a young man proposed to a girl on a stage, I started crying. I don't know why I'm so emotional these days. I literally started tearing down. My daughter was right there, tears running down my face. I didn't feel like they were selling out. I didn't see nothing. It didn't feel like, oh, this nigga just sold his soul and whatnot. I was like, wow, look at the youth, the young man. He proposed to his girl in front of this whole university and whatnot. And he had a whole live band coming out singing. And he gave her like 100 roses. I started tearing up, right? That's love. That's what I saw love. So how are you confusing? People are saying that that's selling your soul. And that shit made that boy cry. So we having conversations. We just want to know. And then the other video that I played where homie was talking about gangsters, body catchers, niggas that kill men, right? Louisiana killers with a lot of bodies, right? But when you look at these killers out of Louisiana, they were sitting on each other's laps. Baby is out there tongue kissing his artist and whatnot. What's going on? That's love? Is that love? We dealing with black boy pain. These children become hyper violent. They become killers and whatnot. They become super predators based off of violations that have taken place. I don't know if that's love. I don't know what y'all talking about. Yeah, these niggas is out here having fatal attractions. So if we can't have a conversation on a platform about real shit in real times, then what are we even doing? Nobody is condemning anyone's lifestyle. We're just literally asking questions, and I'm basically sharing with you what's going on inside of the streamer community, right? Amongst these young streamers who have real estate inside of the hearts and minds of a lot of the children. You know, they have real estate inside of the hearts and minds of a lot of the children. Now, I'm not against. There's androgynous people in this conscious community. There's like androgynous people inside of this community. Ain't nobody running around judging them. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't nobody running around talking about them. You know, this is a part of life. I know women in this community that come up to me and they're a part of this alternative lifestyle. I know men in this community who are part of this lifestyle. Nobody's judging no one. Nobody's saying, ew, get away from me. No, nobody's being immature. But if somebody is on stream and they're playing a part that they're not necessarily, he's like, nah, that's not what I'm doing. I'm not a part of that community. I'm just cosplaying that community for views, for likes, for attention. Yeah, that shit could be kind of lame. And everybody who claims to be that man's friend, they have the right to be like, son, that shit is kind of lame. Why don't you just go back to your former character? What was wrong with him? Because once you go that way, how you gonna go back? You wearing wigs and shit. How you gonna go back? You can't be a. Who you gonna be, a ladies' man after that? You can't go back. So that's the conversation. You know, I hope it's very clear. I don't want nobody to feel attacked. I don't want nobody. Yeah, performative. Performing for the chat. Nigga, that's corny. You a grown-ass man. You're not a teenager. And when does responsibility come in? You can't check nobody. You can't talk to nobody because of their followers or their stream. Nah, come on, fam.
Meet David Roulette, an Army vet who threw.
You don't want to be responsible?
So embarrassing that President Trump seems an egotistical maniac.
I think we check this shit out where this sister talks about being on a new timeline. A lot of us feel like we're on a different timeline. We can't talk about it. A lot of us feels like we woke up in the timelines. Motherfucking CERN has switched the timelines and we're in a bizarro reality.
A lot of us are from a whole different alternate reality, and I'm gonna prove it to you. So when I was in elementary school and we used to do the capitals of every state, bitch, I always had all the capitals. I always got 100. What is the capital of Georgia? When you was in school, what was the capital of Georgia? Now, depending on what timeline you're from, I'm from the timeline where Augusta was the capital of Georgia. Nigga, we never even knew where Augusta was. So, of course, yes, we're not making that up. Augusta is what the capital of fucking Georgia was, is, and always was. For other people, it was Savannah. They come from a timeline that it was Savannah. But now, in this dumbass timeline we're in, the capital is Atlanta. When, nigga? When? When the fuck? Atlanta? What timeline are you from? What was the capital of motherfucking Georgia when you was growing up? I'll wait. Oh yeah, check out the rest of my Mandela effects. Look down here. Okay, bye.
Now, there's also a conversation going on that I want to give a little bit of highlight. I'm not going to be able to play the whole 11 minutes because this is a long video, but it's talking about spiritual psychosis, and I want to talk about it. We might be doing a show or that's going to add more context. This is something that I feel a panel should be doing, but yeah, check it out.
Okay, I just want to go ahead and share this voice note that I received yesterday. To show you guys like this spiritual psychosis and what's going on with girls in women's circles and groups and women who work with other women is very real right now. I'm going to play it for you and then I'm going to talk more about it. But we have to really have a call to action and real conversations about this because it's going to get bad. So a part of the paranoia that I see with a lot of the women who are going into spiritual psychosis, they call it self-referential, right? Where a lot of them cannot filter basic events around themselves in communities. So this is what's happening in a lot of women's spaces, is that a lot of these women who have an overactive crown chakra, they're taking a lot of neutral events, they're taking comments, they're taking interactions with strangers through especially parasocial relationships, and they're using all of these coincidences as being specifically about them and things that are directed to them, but they're not. And I've had a handful of clients. I've had tons of interactions with this energy, but this is like what we call the full-blown manifestation at times of when your overactive crown chakra and monitoring spirits and all of that energy enmeshes together and entangles together. And then it puts you into a psychosis where then you start to create this network of chords and intricate stories and scripts. And I find that the women that are coming to me in this state, all the scripts are the same. It's very, very, very much some markers of schizophrenia. And in the past month, 2 months, 3 months, like, it's bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this voice note. I don't know this woman.
Hi, Trap Witch. I need your help. I don't know. I'm in a position where very few people are believing me right now, or I don't know if that's just in my mind because of the way that I am being harassed right now. But I need your help. I am trying to build a case, a racketeering case, against a prominent musician artist in Toronto. And I don't know why I'm asking you, but I felt like I need to, I just called to reach out to you. Please keep in mind that I am being technologically surveillanced, unauthorized right now by the same team. I am being severely criminally harassed on a daily basis. This includes trying to make me feel crazy and also appear crazy through the manipulation of my algorithm. My connection to this team is that my former thought boyfriend, but actually pimp, and I guess abuser, is part of their team. He writes music for, there I said the name. And the amount of power that this team has over the city of Toronto is immense. It is so immense that I have been completely socially isolated. I've had my cousin turn against me. I was part of the community with John's wife. And it is my belief that she has received funds for their new home purchase in order to use her position of power to apply pressure to me so that I behave and I act in certain ways and I say certain things. This has all come on the heels of me deciding to leave this guy. And I don't know. I'm formally trained in the law. I'm not a licensed lawyer, but I'm formally trained in the law. I didn't get the license at this point because of abuse. I experienced consecutive abusive relationships from the time of my law school, close to ending up until now. And I'm completely isolated. And I need a community. I need people around me to help, people who care, people who will listen to me long enough to, I don't expect anyone to blindly believe me, but will listen to me long enough to consider what I have to say. And that will help me organize. I'm set on doing this, even though that I know the risks that are involved. When somebody has power like that, they can do anything. The speaker can become the one spoken about, right? The victim may be, victimized through the abuse of legal process. I may be killed. However, here I am. I need support. I need support. I need resources. Right now, I'm basically only leaning on Skali Mata, who is her Navratri right now. So I've been leaning on her. I've been doing her puja. And I need dark goddesses in the flesh as well.
Okay, y'all. I'm here to sound the alarm because the girls are not okay. I have been talking about this. I've been advocating for this, and I'm not here to be a savior about this. But as things happen to me, I'm going to just sound the alarm to the streets because we have to continue to talk about this without shaming people. But the girls are in spiritual psychosis. This is probably like the 6th incident I've had in about 2 to 3 months. I made you guys a video about this woman having a psychotic break at my gym, which started with her approaching me. I sounded the alarm to the front desk to let them know that she wasn't okay. By the time I did, she had gone on a rampage. And we're coming up on a few years since those of you in the spiritual community know about the Mystic Lipstick case. It's now been featured on some true crime documentary cases. And we're going to see more of this because I don't want to give affirmation to that I'm a magnet for these women, but the truth is that I do attract these women, and it is to sound the alarm. So yesterday I received a message, and again, this is like the 3rd time in a month for this type of energy coming to me. I'm just going to let you guys know I do not know this woman. This woman is coming from a colleague, sister, friend, and communities group that has now put mental health protocol in place in order to deal with the situation. But I'm saying this because I love that this person, my fellow sister creator, she put boundaries with herself that she's not here to take on someone's mental illness. Most of us aren't. Most of us in this community are not equipped to deal with this type of break from reality. And I've had to put charges against a former client of mine because of similar things. There's a lot of girls who are struggling with being seen, with being received, being understood, going into this deep psychosis of paranoia, of feeling highly surveilled. And this is why I talk about not perpetuating monitoring spirits as something heavily intense, because the girls are crashing out, y'all. I need you to understand the girls are crashing out.
I want to hear from the audience. It's about 800 of us in the building. She said the girls are crashing out. The girls are not okay. Spiritual psychosis, by a show of hands, right? Now that we're talking about spiritual psychosis, how many people saw the documentary on Rashad Jamal? Huh? They just put a documentary out, not on YouTube, right? Not on YouTube, on cable, right? They put it on cable. I forgot what channel it's on, but it's on major networks. The Rashad Jamal documentary is out. And there's also they doing Hood Horrors. Hood Horrors has part 1 and 2 of Rashad Jamal. The same dude that did the Nature Boy 50-part series, he has a YouTube series on Rashad Jamal. He did only 2 parts as of yet, and I'm already invested in. I'm into. I watch both of them, and I'm like, yeah, I've spoken on this I've spoken on this on a few occasions when I was like, look, there was a break that took place in like 2016, 2017, when the newer teachers came in through the side door. The side door was Facebook. The side door was Bigo. The side door was Instagram. The front door was YouTube. It was regulated by Sinetta TV, House of Consciousness, 125th Street. That was the proverbial front door where you would have to come through the door and you would kind of get checked. You would get diagnosed. You would get your temperature checked before we put you on the main stage. The main stage was in front of that camera where you could be viewed by 20, 30, 40,000 people. That's how Nature Boy ultimately blew up. He got on Sinetta's couch one time, and from him sitting on that couch one time, he was able to build up a following, and he turned that following into his movement, right? Carbonation, or whatever it was called in the beginning, right? But people started coming through Facebook and things of that nature, and it started this movement where some of the younger teachers were teaching from a perspective where it was like they were making the rules, whatever they said, that, and they were encapsulating the minds of like the youth who were basically outside, on Black Twitter and just other places, searching and looking and seeking answers, and they were tapping into the energy that was on the planet in 2016. Okay, there was a awakening that took place in 2016 and whatnot. Yeah, it's a renegade energy, and YP was the face of it, right? YP was the face of that energy, but YP came through the side door, and they tried to get him to walk through the front door. They attempted to get him to walk through the front door so they could somewhat control him, and he wasn't trying to be controlled, and he broke free of that control. And he did what I say John Gotti did to Paulie Castellano. He bodied the fucking boss. You know what I mean? He did a Sparks. he did what John Gotti. If you are familiar with the lore of Paulie Castellano and how John Gotti got into power, John Gotti killed his boss, and he killed his boss without sitting down and getting permission to do it from the other families. And that's literally what young Pharaoh did that fateful night in December 2016 when he went after Sarnetta with his homie. They did it, John Gotti. It was John Gotti and Sammy the Bull at the steakhouse. Yep. And that's the same exact thing that they did to Sarnetta. And they even said, we're doing this to take your audience. He took out a made man. Sarnetta's the Godfather. They took out a made man, and they didn't get the approval of anybody, and it started a war. A real war started, you know, and I can't get into details about everything, but literally they set a war off. And after they did that, that basically opened up the floodgates, and nobody had to go through the front door anymore, you know. And that energy where people was just like, I don't got nobody to answer to. Fuck the elders. Y'all could SMD, flashing burners and all type of stuff. That was the era that we went into. And the daughters weren't safe all the way back then. You know, a lot of people were not safe as a result of that. And it kind of got, and this is where you see that side of YouTube, this unregulated, this very dark, that people could literally just get up there and say anything and talk about anything. That kind of that was the outgrowth of that. Rashad Jamal comes out of that petri dish. He comes out of that culture, right? He was a young Pharaoh clone in a sense, because he was, even in the documentary, the woman that put him in jail, I heard he got 40 or 60 years. I'm not sure about the number. Maybe somebody in the chat knows how many years they gave him in Georgia, but they served that young man. And it was the woman that he made a child with. She was she was on the documentary, and she was like, yeah, you know, at first he was into this, and then he caught young Pharaoh. He started watching him and binging on him, and he kind of like turned his whole persona, right? He kind of forged himself after that man right there. So yeah. And the documentary is talking about spiritual psychosis, how some of his followers was bodying shit. Same way with the Nature Boy documentary. They have stories of his followers going back home and killing shit, killing parents, you know, catching bodies, you know, spiritual psychosis, parasocial relationships where people live vicariously through their favorite teachers and whatnot. And they will spin the block. They'll body something for their teachers, or they'll body themselves. And I'm just saying, this is what's in these documentaries, you know, this is slippery slope. So be careful when you watch them things, because I was having nightmares off of the Nature Boy shit. I shared that on the channel. It was 50 parts. You know what I mean? I'm watching shit, falling asleep, part 32 and whatnot. I wake up as part 43. I'm like, shit. I gotta, you know what I mean? I'm like, goddamn, that shit is in my subconscious now. I gotta be careful. No, this is not before YouTube. Nah, YouTube was popping through this whole time. 2016 and all of that. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That's all YouTube era. It just wasn't the YouTube era that we started with. This is a brand new YouTube era. Remember, YouTube, you couldn't always go live on YouTube. You could only upload videos. When they started going live, I believe the live feature was introduced in 2015 or 14, if my memory serves me correct. And then it got perfected around 15, 16. So this whole going live type shit, that was kind of new. That's why people were coming through Facebook, because Facebook, you could go live. Instagram, you was able to go live. the YouTube live thing was a newer phenomenon. Yeah, I was waking up like, hey, yo, what the fuck? Oh, shit crazy, you know? But yeah, man. Spiritual psychosis is a conversation that we will be having. I don't want to have it all right now, but we will be having that conversation. I want to bring a panel together because there's a lot to talk about. You know me? Let's get into some other situations dealing with these rappers and their health and whatnot. And that's another crisis that's going on. The dying rappers, the rappers that are succumbing to illnesses and sicknesses and overdoses and all of that.
Today we lost Alley Boy. You know, this one hurts because beyond the music, he wasn't afraid to tell the truth about the lifestyle that almost took him. He tried to warn young people that the drugs people glorify, like lean, pills, and other substances, don't come without a price. He knew the pain behind the image, and he used his voice to tell others not to make the same mistakes. You know, too often we celebrate the lyrics, but ignore the warnings. We replay the songs, but overlook the lessons. Alley Boy's story reminds us that no high is worth your health, your purpose, or your life. If this passing does anything, I pray it opens someone's eyes. I pray a young person puts the cup down, says no to the pills. Get help and choose a future over temporary escape. That will be a legacy worth honoring. Rest in peace, Alley Boy. Thank you for your music. But even more, thank you for being honest enough to try to save lives with your testimony. Your voice and your warning will not be forgotten. Praying for your family, friends, and everyone whose life you touched. Rest in peace, King.
Was just on Banks' interview, telling us how he was never dusty, he hopped off the porch fresh as fuck, which he did, but the fact that 3 weeks later, Buddy ain't even here no more is crazy. But what's crazier is, do y'all know how many people we have lost in the Atlanta hip-hop scene, baby? We are hurting. Now we done lost Alley Boy, Takeoff, Rich Homie Quan, Trouble, Scooter, Keed, Marlo, Bankroll, Shawty Low, and the list continues. But what hits different with Alley Boy is he had just done hell of a press run. He did so many interviews where he was sharing his own story with his own words, and one of the things he had said was that, hey, I told my mama when I was in the hospital, if I died today, I was cool. Now, that is a very strong statement, but what we gotta realize is he was fighting for his life down here. And the reason he was fighting for his life is he had suffered a very bad addiction to lean. Now, not only was he addicted to lean, but he was allergic to opiates. So all these years that he was doing it, he was really himself to the point that now he was doing dialysis 3 times a week. He had kidney failure. He needed a kidney transplant, but none of that happened in time. However, in the time that he was doing his press runs, baby, he used it for the good. He was preaching to the youngins like, hey, listen, y'all think it's cool doing all this, that, and the third, but slow down. And he talked about the picture that brought him to tears. It's this picture right here. And him and Bank was laughing because they is the last two, and Bank said the baddest two is left. And now it's just Bank that's left. So this story is absolutely heartbreaking. Rest in peace to Alley Boy. Prayers to his family. Prayers to Bank, as this is just so heartbreaking. But be sure to give me a
fuck. Yo, Atlanta gotta be cursed at this point, my nigga. Shawty Low, Young Scooter, OG Double D, Marlo, Bankroll Fresh, Trouble, Rich Homie Quan. Like, that shit fucked me all the way up when Quan died. Slim Duncan, Lotto Savage. Like, bruh, Atlanta gotta be cursed, bro. Damn. I didn't really fuck with Alley Boy like that because
OG
he
Macro,
had set younger LA up. But I ain't wish death on a nigga.
Dollar.
You feel me? Like, he was trying to better his life. You feel me? He was trying to make shit right. So I had to respect him. But what the fuck, bro? Like, I literally grew up watching this nigga.
So the question that people are asking is Atlanta curse? You know, interesting question. Is Atlanta curse? Some people would say hell yeah. Some people would say hell yeah. You know, and then others would say, nah, it ain't curse. It's the lifestyles, you know. But I would say that everybody in Atlanta that's making transition is making transition from a bunch of different reasons. It's not just shootings and whatnot. People are dying all type of cancer, Rico Wade, Mozzie, guns, you know. It's, you heard those names? It's a litany of them. It's a litany of them. When I came to Atlanta in 2021 and I was raising awareness, I was like, yo, the energy out here is super dark. The energy out here is very dark. You could cut it with a knife. What the hell going on? We went up on Stone Mountain mainly because of that energy. We wouldn't have been on Stone Mountain if we came to Atlanta and it felt the same way that it did in 2012. Shit, even 2020, the energy was different. So whatever was going on, whatever they was whatever was being sacrificed and whatnot, it has taken a toll, and somebody has come to collect. Something and someone has come to collect. They was out there playing with them goats in Atlanta. You feel me? But they're collecting souls out there. So when you see people running from Atlanta in that U-Haul truck on 3 wheels and whatnot, with the back is still open, then understand they didn't fail in Atlanta. They didn't fall off in Atlanta. They didn't. It wasn't that they couldn't make it in Atlanta. No, them niggas woke up to Atlanta. They got the fuck up out of there. Some of the people saw some shit in there. Some people woke up and looked at whatever they was laying next to in Atlanta and was like, hell nah, I'm getting up out of here today. Today. There's some shit in Atlanta where people are revealing demon faces. I'm telling you, and I'm not going to get too much into detail in it. But when you hear the witches of West End, and when you hear the word witches thrown around and West End in the same sentence, I need you to go and do your research, bro. I need you to go and do your goddamn research, because you're going to hear a lot of that. People are seeing things that they can't unsee out there. Facts. And I'm not hating. I'm not hating, and I'm not being regional, because New York got his own shit. But I don't see the level of darkness in New York that I'm seeing in Atlanta. Because if the rappers are dying like that, imagine just the regular degulas. Just imagine what's going on with the regular. And man, I could get into a lot of things, but thank God that there's been a balancing of energy. Thank all of the practitioners, you know, all of the people that are doing work to heal the land and whatnot, all of the people that were going up and down that crystal, that mountain and whatnot, beating on them drums, burning that sage. Man, you got to burn the whole forest at this point. You understand me? You got to burn the whole forest at this point, you know? So for everybody like, yo, I'm coming to Atlanta because I seen y'all on Stone Mountain, that'd be the worst nigga. No, says who? You wasn't invited. Nobody, don't ever in your life make no goddamn, if a nigga ever call me up and be like, I'm out here, fam, I got the U-Haul, I'm gonna be like, yo, what? Nigga, what? Are you dumb? Like, what the hell? Are you dumb? You watch too much TV. That's a perfect example of, you watch too much TV, man. You out here watching YouTube and believing that shit, bro. You better pack it up. You know what I mean? But let's get up out of here in a minute. We're gonna have matter of fact, yeah, because it's not just a black thing. It's literally what these white people left behind. Think about that.
Meet David Roulette, an army.
Think about that.
So embarrassing that President Trump seems an egotistical.
Kenneth Copeland and all of them. Their residue is in Atlanta. Yeah.
Call unlocked by the name of Apostle Catherine. She threw a book signing, and next thing you know, God came down himself and started touching people through the spirit of her book signing. And she even let people know God's power does not limit through the 4 walls of the church. You could be right here getting touched by God yourself through me. Got people laid the fuck out. Special white breed indeed, man. Hello. I mean, you understand how fucking insane y'all look? Just how naive and how ignorant to think that out of all places and all the things going on in the world right now, God gonna take time through Apostle Catherine and touch her through a book. You are in the wrong spot, lady. How did they get you? And I just gotta know, who starts off this shit? Like, who's the first paid actress? Because I know that's how it must work, where it's like, okay, we're gonna do about 3 or 4 of y'all. Y'all shaking like a fucking stripper, and we're gonna say that God is touching us. And then I guess other people in the room are like, oh, hell yeah, I can feel God. He on the way. I know God looking down like, no, I'm not. What the you think I'm right now talking to y'all? It's genocide happening. Mad people dying, war. Not to say, like, I ain't been here since 2026. Why do you think I'm pulling up now? I'm not. They got kids. Just indoctrination. I always wonder, like, do these people know how fucking iniquitous they look from the outside looking in? And then, this is a fly on the wall. I'm thinking about Catherine now. When it's all over, and she goes to the upper room, maybe lower room, because she could just be lying. Well, I know she's lying about talking to God directly. Is God going to talk about that with her, though? He's like, hey. I mean, these are having gays, but you know what she was doing. that was for sinners. You're not supposed to be moving groove and vibe and sliding that way. I never talked to you directly. You was over here touching people, said, I'm doing this, blessing that. I've never said that. So why are you passing on fake messages? But you know what? Maybe she is putting these people's life trajectory in a better spot. But at the end of the day, like, if you think God decided to talk to you through Apostle Catherine at a book signing, newsflash, buddy, you need a lot more help than whatever the fuck Apostle Catherine is gonna tell you. Go look in that mirror. Starts with self, and then go seek somebody other than fucking Apostle Catherine, who only blessed you through God when she signed your book. You understand? Touching they fucking head, laid out like they just took some drugs. You guys are in a cult. This is hilarious, but at the same time, these are kids. That is sick. I love Apostle Catherine. Why? I talked to her through God. Hey, little nigga, you sound fucking nuts.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there's a whole bunch of Apostle Karens running around. You know what I'm talking about? Let's stay vigilant. Let's stay focused. You know what I'm talking about? And let's stay very aware of what's happening, because it ain't what you think it is. And I'm going to leave it on that note, ladies and gentlemen. Let's stay positive, though. Remember, we're still inside of this basket, but we had to bring you the balance, and the balance is real. Okay? Barbaults Basket, Part 2, Black Boy Pain, featuring the Red Pillar, Melanin Monday, Part 2. Okay? I'm going to throw this up here, this Cash App. Somebody was asking about that. Yeah, let's post that in the building. And then we out of here, and we will catch up with you. Oh, shit. We will catch up with you. What's tomorrow? Techno Tuesdays? Yeah, Techno Tuesdays. We'll see you then, okay? So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. This one was a little bit, people may feel like it's a little controversial and whatnot, and that's a good thing. We don't run from that, but there's uncomfortable conversations that are taking place, and they need to take place. You know what I'm saying? This is not a feel-good operation. This is not, let's puff up your ego type of shows and whatnot. This is the Real Talk Network, where we're going to talk some real shit, and we're going to explore. I'm just going to explore all of the things that are happening, okay, without being judgmental and with a conscious mind and whatnot. So the participation from everybody in the audience, I really appreciate it. I feel that we were very mature tonight with tackling situations. I feel that we have been very informative for the parents that are in the audience to understand what is going on inside of the streamer communities without chastising, without finger pointing, and without being scared of utilizing a phobia. Nah, I feel that we've been great parents at the end of the day. We've been very responsible, and this was not a heavy-handing type of situation, because if y'all thought this was heavy-handed, you have no idea whatsoever what heavy-handed sounds like and looks like and feels like. This shit was a love offering. This wasn't even tough love. What homie was doing with Black Boy Max, none of this conversation was anything like that. We were just posing the question about, if you want to talk about selling your soul, if they built their whole career, if the entire community was built around who's selling your soul, the number one question has to be, what the fuck does selling your soul even look like? So we're not hypocritical when we talk about it. What is selling your soul? Is it being a bati fish? What is selling your soul? What is it? It's still on the table and whatnot. So I would love to have that convo. There might be even a part 3. Okay. So with that being said, peace, love, and light to the family. We will catch you on the next one. Y'all stay dangerous. Y'all stay focused. And we will peace, love, and light.
Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink 3-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bums we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept a storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields. And interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube. And fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual. Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson.
The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch stores type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like porch lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom.